Hello and welcome back to the Game Bet Match podcast. I'm your host, Manny Friedman, along with my co-host,
Brad Sloan.
back in the house, baby. Asia Tour kicking into high
Over
gear.
650 Twitter followers.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. I don't know.
I don't know why, but somehow we got some I don't really understand why we get views and or more followers. Like it's really hard for me to understand why why we have some days and weeks that are great and some that aren't with that.
It must be because of my dumb rants.
Yeah, I think so. I think these awful rants are getting us a lot of foot traffic. So maybe you need to keep doing them just from a marketing perspective.
Just dumb rants. I mean, Laver Cup is my cup of tea, right? So I'm just gonna go off on it.
Oh yeah, well that's your event. I mean, you have that event covered.
To be honest, don't I have every event covered?
You do. You do. And that's actually more what it is. You have every event covered, whereas I just elect not to cover half the events.
Well, you cover the ATP events. You cover.
I cover the ATP. I cover the real tour. Basically, if there's points on the line, I cover it. If not,
Well, I'm all over this Orleans Challenger because it's a stacked challenger. If you looked at the draw,
yeah, it's a deep, which is surprising because there's a 250 and a 500 at the same time. I guess it's probably the guys that don't want to travel to Asia.
Probably. And I love the way they schedule this event because there's only one or two courts on that site. So they schedule 7 matches back to back to back to back. This would be a challenger I would like to go to. You just sit there from 9:30 in the morning till midnight and just watch back to back matches. I would love that,
Yeah, that's insane.
That's crazy. Insane. There's only 2 courts on the venue for a 32 man field. So they have 7 matches back to back.
Right, because they have to have doubles too, right? They have 16
exactly.
doubles teams. They have doubles also.
Exactly. So it's an amazing schedule. So I've been all over that the last couple of days too. It's been actually
how do they only have 2 courts? That makes no I don't know, dude. Tennis clubs in the US have more than 2 courts.
I know.
We go to Chester and Chester has 4 courts and Chester's nothing special.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, literally, what they have, they keep it's. I mean, are the 2 courts completely separated? Or are they under the same bubble?
I don't know. When I looked at the order of play, there's only two courts. So they start.
Because you haven't watched any of it yet.
They start the matches at 9:30 in the morning, and they go till midnight, and they have 7 matches on.
Right, but you haven't watched the matches yet to see what tournament was it that they were right next to each other? There was a tournament this year, and it was an ATP tournament where it literally looked like high school tennis. The courts were right next to each other. They were close enough you could have hit a straight ball
because
into
of
the other
rain.
court.
It was in Auckland or something earlier in the year. Was it that?
Well, Auckland was the goofy indoor court that was way too small.
Right.
Remember, Auckland was when they moved it indoors and it was way too small. But there was definitely one where they had it might not have been indoors. I think it was outdoors, but they had 2 courts. But they had courts next to each other. Such that if you shanked a ball, you could easily shank it onto the other court. They'd have to call a let, which would be funny.
And it was an ATP event?
I think so, yeah. I think it was on clay. I remember you commenting, is this high school tennis? What is this?
Oh, is it Marrakech?
It might have been. I don't remember.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at that draw, the Orleans Challenger, Van Ash was.
It might be stronger than Astana because Astana's pretty weak.
It is. It's kind of on par with it.
Yeah.
So Gasquet is a 1 seed. There's Mensik is playing. Huesler lost to Ferry today. Bonsai is playing. Benoit Paire is playing. Lestienne is playing. Machak is playing. Draper. Gilles Brouwer. Prismic played Gaston yesterday, which was a good match. Goffin, Vertanen, Nardi, and Van Ash. So it's a really good challenger.
Yeah, Molcan, Grenier, Vertanen, this. I mean, some of these guys are challenger guys, but these are really good. These are it's a mix of quality challenger guys and it's a quality challenger. It's probably not as stacked as Phoenix.
Yeah,
where it looks like an ATP event.
Right.
But it's a really quality challenger. Jack Draper is an 8 seed in a challenger.
Yeah.
I guess his ranking's so low because if you don't play, you don't get points.
I guess so. Yeah.
But like,
I wonder if he would
yeah.
finish matches if he retired, he wouldn't get the points.
Oh, I don't remember how that works. I don't. I know they made some change at the slams where it's like, well, you
But
may not
that's
get all
only,
your money if you retire.
but that's only for the first round.
Yeah, it's only for the first round. Yeah, yeah. You still get your points even if you retire in the second round or get keep a
Right.
walkover.
Right. So anyway, let's recap what happened in Chengdu and in Zhuhai. So where do you want to start?
I mean, it doesn't really matter. We can start in Zhuhai.
Zhuhai.
I
So
think I think we have a BD Bulldog of the Week winner. He didn't win the tournament, so maybe you'll disagree. But Yoshi was definitely, I think, a BD Bulldog this week, man.
he failed me in the final match, but I guess
Yeah,
for the week itself, he was pretty good.
I had him over Karatsev, and I got him over Harris on the money line and on the over. And he was also nice enough to give a set to Atmane. I bet Atmane plus 2.5.
Yeah.
And Yoshi was nice enough to get bageled before he took over and like dominated. So yeah, so I was happy about that. I really wanted to see Yoshi win the event, win the final, because up until that, like, so I don't know if I've ever seen this before where a guy gets bageled the first set of the event and wins the event without losing another set.
Yeah,
and I really wanted to see Yoshi pull that off. It would have been really cool.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
But
no, he had a really good event. I mean, you could tell against Khachanov, especially after he lost that first set, like he was just out of gas. Which kind of makes me want to fade him this week in Beijing.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that sentiment. I also think we have to be a little careful, right? Because like if we look at his week in actuality, right? Abane was coming in with strong form, but he's a challenger player, right? And he did get bageled. And it's the first match of the tournament. I understand it, but like he did get bageled by a challenger level guy. Lloyd Harris winning 2 tie breaks, like Lloyd Harris is not good, and like
Lloyd Harris is gets more respect from the books than I think he should, to be honest.
I tend to agree with that from the markets. Yeah. Like he just does like he's a great serve, but nothing else. And like his matches just looks like watching a Lloyd Harris match is so awful.
It is. He's actually playing.
It's just like pain. Like
actually playing now against Christian Garin and qualifying in Beijing. So, yeah, I mean,
you'd rather pod than watch that, which tells us what we need to know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt. I mean, Karatsev was a good candidate for Bulldog of the Week too. I mean, we overthought the match against Murray. It's like
I know.
Lines, and like I had the right read because I picked Karatsev to win. It's just like based on mental gap and what you were telling me, it's just I kind of did it unconventional way, and like it just didn't pan out, right? Like I played.
I don't even remember. Oh, I had Murray over 12.5. That's right. And that
was painful, right? And then you hit Murray in 3 sets, right? And then you can,
which was stupid in retrospect. In retrospect, that was the dumbest bet of the 4.
Agree.
Like Murray just gassed out.
But based on what you were telling me, like mental gap, I thought was in Murray's favor, right? So it's like I was like, if Karatsev is going to win that, he's just going to overpower him and win in straight sets.
Yeah, I also thought that like if Karatsev, I knew that Murray was like, we know Murray has metal hip. We know he's old. We know that physicality is a problem. But I didn't think on quick courts in the second round of a tournament after beating Yi Kong Mo that he would gas out. Like I don't know, man. You think like usually you see gassing out later in tournaments, you know? Like most of these guys can make it through 3 sets in the first round. Like
so I heard tidbits talk about Murray, and it's like he just finds a way to drag out a match against anyone, right? Like it doesn't matter what it is or like what.
Well, he was always kind of like that, right? Like you can go back years and he was always kind of like that.
Yeah, he doesn't have any other way of playing, right? Like he's a counter puncher by nature, and this metal hip forces him to counterpunch. right? Like, because he can't attack the ball and be aggressive because it just like.
Well, I just don't know if he ever could, really. Like, I guess he could better in his prime, but like, he was always, to your point, he was always, his natural style was always counterpunching.
But now it's even more evident with the metal hip, right? Like, he's not even capable of not like.
Well, but the real
on.
problem is he just can't run balls. I think it's a slightly different issue. I think he can't run balls down anymore either, right? Like he used to be able to run everything down. Now he like almost has to let balls go.
But like, for example, if Wawrinka had a metal hip, right? Just the way he hits the ball, I feel like he would be more successful than Murray just because like he's able to hit through the court.
Yeah, we agree. We're saying
right?
the same thing. We're saying the same thing. I'm saying in addition to that, the metal hip is a problem because he can't like Murray can't run as many balls down as he used to be able to. Like you know, he's not near the defender he used to be because he just like can't run the way he used to be able to run. And like and he actually has to like conserve like you actually watch it. It's really funny to watch Murray play because he's always been super emotional and like always kind of the super like whiny guy when he plays. But now he's even more so, and I think it's because he knows like you can tell that he knows there's balls he used to be able to get to that he can't get to anymore.
And it just like hurts him, right? So much.
Just you it's almost like there's physical pain on his face and like anger at his stupid body for like not being able to move anymore.
But how much of what Murray does now is due to poor tactics versus what he can or cannot do? Do you think it's
I think it's all the second.
You do? Okay.
I don't like I don't really think it's like I don't like Murray was never like this big ball basher to begin with. And I don't know that I don't know that with he doesn't really have the explosiveness anymore. Like in addition to people to run, he really can't explode with that middle hip anywhere either. They used to be like that's what you need in order to have power, right? Like we can say that like a Wawrinka, for instance, right? Because it's a good comparison, actually, another older player. Mm-hmm. We can say that Wawrinka doesn't have he's not like an athlete, but he's super explosive.
He is.
Right? Whereas like Murray was always a superb, super agile, quick, agile, but never super explosive. And now that explosiveness is completely gone. And this is what you're left with. And it's honestly, I think it's a testament to his ability to tactics and his mental toughness that he's able to beat anybody and stay on the tour.
Well, it's interesting because I was listening to the Match Point 9 guys and Tidbits was kind of getting on him for a poor tactical match against Karatsev. But as we talked about, I agree with you. I don't think he's capable of not making matches long, right? He's just not capable of it because he doesn't have that ability to hit through the court. He's not explosive enough. I think that's what it boils down to. It's just,
and that's why every single match that he plays in is competitive. Every single, because he's stuck in this purgatory where he's tough enough to fight everyone except maybe the top guys. Like he plays now, guys, maybe not, but he's tough enough to fight anyone except maybe the top 5-10 guys in the world. But he can't he can't squash Yikong Mo.
I know.
Right? I mean, his take the mental toughness away and he's playing maybe on the Challenger Tour at this point, maybe. It's such a testament to him because it's just pure mental toughness, really, that he's and tactics that he's able to hang around on the ATP tour and he's earned his ATP card back, which I never thought he would. I thought he would be stealing protected rankings and wild cards and things. No, he's legitimately earned his ATP card back.
Yeah, it's damn impressive. And that's why we consider him part of the big four, right? When we talk about Murray, most people when he was in the same picture with the other three guys at Laver Cup, right? Last year. You can argue that he shouldn't belong in there because those other three guys are way above him, right? But I would say that those other three guys believe that Murray is part of that equation just because they respect him so much for what he's done, Well,
it's also because for a time, right? in Murray's prime,
Hmm.
maybe his prime didn't really overlap with those other guys as much. It
Yeah.
felt like, but in Murray's, like, Murray had years. Like, Murray finished number one when all those other guys were playing, right? It's like maybe
Yep.
there were some injuries and things. I don't remember. Like Murray finished number one at least 1 year, if not two. Like it's not that and he has like he like he won, I mean, he won, like he beat and gave those other guys great fights. Like, whereas no, like the other guys, like, didn't really do that consistently on the level that Murray did, right? Like Wawrinka showed up and won a couple of slams, but really the rest of his career is quite meh.
Yeah, Murray would
The
do that 1000s as well, right? He wouldn't.
What?
He would do it at Masters 1000s, and he would
Yeah. Oh
consistently
yeah, Murray. Yeah,
finals for
he
5 years, 5-6 years.
he won a World Tour Finals,
Oh,
which Nadal famously doesn't have. Like,
yeah,
so like he's
2 Olympic golds.
like he's got the Olympic gold. Like he's got, like, which Djokovic doesn't have. Like he's got like real,
Yeah,
like he's got some. I mean, his in his prime, he was competitive with those guys. He just what's missing for Murray is that run. So like Federer and Djokovic have both had this run, right? So Federer had a run early on before Nadal really became what he was, where he racked up a bunch of slams, and Djokovic has had this run late where he's racked up a ton of slams in the past 3-4 years. After the other guys started to fall off a
he
little
also had
bit, right?
11 through 15. Well, 11 in those 2 years in particular, and then now this late run, right? Like, so that's why Djokovic has the most, because he's kind of had 2 runs in a way, right? Whereas,
right. But like my point is, like, what Murray never had was Murray never got like the chance in his prime. So Federer had the early run, right? Federer kind of got out to the early jump because he was the first one on the scene.
mm-hmm.
Nadal always had Roland Garros, which he could win, right? He could just win Roland Garros over and over and over and over again. And then Djokovic has had this late run. And that's how they've all kind of ended up in that same stratosphere of, roughly 20 slams, right?
Right.
Murray never had any of those three. But like, if Murray had been around when Federer was making his run, right? If Murray was the same age as Federer and came up the same time as Federer, he probably has 3-4 more slams, right? If Murray was able to hang on longer in his prime, he probably is. Like, he's not like, he's circumstance off of having like a career that would put him in the top 5 players of all time, I guess is my point. Or maybe not top 5, but close to it. Definitely top 10. Whereas, I don't know, if you were to put Murray, I've always said I think Murray's top, you can maybe make an argument for top 10, but I think definitely top 15 of all time.
I think he's top 10 of all time. I think he's in the...
you can make the argument. I mean, it all comes down to how much do you weight the fact that he had to play against those other 3 guys the whole time in their primes.
Interesting question for you. I actually struggle with this answer. Who of those 3 guys would he rather play in their prime, like at their absolute peak? And if you put Murray's prime as well, who would you think he would want to play?
Well, it depends on the surface, right? Because like Nadal on clay, which would be Nadal's prime surface, there's no chance.
Court, kind of on a slowish hard court. It's an interesting question because, like, I don't really have an answer either. That was kind of my...
I think I'd say Federer, because Murray knows Federer is going to come attack him, and on a slowish hard court, I think like I actually think in general the answer is probably Federer. Because like just I think the matchup style wise plays better. Like I always thought Djokovic was like a little bit better version of Murray for the most part during their careers. So I don't think the answer can be Djokovic. Nadal's really tough because it's so surface dependent, right? It obviously can't be Nadal on clay. On a slow hard court.
Prime, he was beating him on grass too, like 2010, 2011.
Yeah, I mean, he's not beating any of them in a prime matchup. Like, right? That's why that's the other reason he doesn't have like slams. right? But like, so we're talking about like match, like which match me favors more. Like, I don't think it's Djokovic. I
See, I,
think
I
probably
actually,
Federer.
no, I disagree. I think it's Nadal because Nadal is going to give him time, and the forehand to Murray has a world class backhand, so like the forehand to backhand doesn't hurt him quite as much, and he can kind of attack it. Because like I've seen Federer when Federer's in his absolute peak, and Murray was actually playing well, he would just destroy Murray. Like there was a World Tour Finals match in 14. I think Murray won one game in the entire match.
And I
So,
remember that, but
you
so
know,
I
like
agree with that. But
I just think
I
Murray
think all
Federer
these guys
can,
are going to do that. I think all these guys are going to do that. Like,
but Federer takes like if he's playing his best, he's taking time
the
away.
racket's not in Murray's hand. Yeah,
Exactly.
I guess.
Whereas
Yeah,
with
I
the
mean,
other
look, I
two
think you can make
guys,
the
like
argument
he
either
can still
way.
work the point. So I probably on a neutral hard court, I probably say Nadal slightly. I mean, it's
I think you make the argument either way. It's a good question. It's a good
yeah,
question.
yeah. All right, so well, that's enough Murray talk because he's kind of irrelevant
Yeah,
now.
that's enough talk about a guy who's not even in the top 50 anymore.
Yeah. What else?
Um,
Talked about Karatsev. Did you hit Karatsev to beat Norrie at plus 165 or something like that?
I don't know. I barely stayed away, and I was kind of pissed at myself. You got plus 165 on. I don't think I saw
Yeah,
that line. I probably
I
would
hit
have
it
hit it at
early.
that. Yeah.
I hit it really early.
Yeah, I think you had to get that early because I think by the time I saw it, it got down to like 140 or something. I was like, eh.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but I could. Yeah, it was. Karatsev always scares me, man. Like I just don't know how to bet that dude.
He's tough to bet. I just like I think he plays well against counterpunchers for the most part. I think against Yoshi, he was just out of gas, right? Like, and it's just to play that style and win back to back to back to back matches is really difficult. And that was my
Yeah,
logic in
yeah,
betting Yoshi there, especially since we got plus money on Yoshi. I thought it was a no brainer. But like guys who like Karatsev's problem is not ball striking and offense, it's defense, right? So when he plays a guy that
yeah.
can like, put him on the move, that's where he really struggles.
I don't
So
disagree.
I think like the guys he played, like Norrie, Murray, he probably beats Yoshi if they're like if he's, you know, like didn't have two long matches the previous 2 days. Then I would be more hesitant about that bet. But like I just think it's with Karatsev, if he's playing a counterpuncher, I'm more likely to back him. If he's playing someone like, for example, Arnaldi, right? Like someone who likes to take initiative and kind of put pressure on
Yeah.
opponents, that's where I would be more hesitant to back Karatsev.
Okay. Interesting.
So that's kind of my
Interesting.
take on him. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
uh,
another bad tournament for Norrie, right? Like, I mean,
he's
at this
just
point, it's kind of an old hat story, but it's just another bad tournament for Norrie. Like, just
he can
not beating
hold.
Pullman's is not impressive.
So yeah, I know, but like he beats up on all these guys that are like just pure challenger level players or like even future level players like
Yeah.
that, and even that was a pretty close match, but like Shevchenko at the US Open, now Pullman's here, like those guys he's gonna beat, right? But whenever he plays someone semi-decent, like he's a pure fade.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just that's what it kind of boils down to.
Yeah.
Um How about that match, Korda? Like, let's talk a little bit about Sebastian Korda. So we backed Muller in that matchup. I don't regret that bet by any means. Like, I think that's one of our better
I think it was
losses of the
okay.
week.
I think it was okay. I think it was like I think it was probably slightly good. Like we got it. I mean, we got it to plus two. I think I got it at plus 290 or something. I had the money line.
Yeah,
Like
something like that.
I think he wins it somewhere around 1 out of 3. To like, yeah. I mean, he certainly is nowhere near a favorite, but he might win that enough to make a little bit money on. But yeah, it was a brutal.
But don't you think
That was a funny match.
Korda's just a guy to fade for the most part? Like what are your takes
Well,
on?
because the books are still giving him respect, man. Like they just continue to give him respect. I don't
He's
quite
the
get why.
favorite to win Astana. I was looking at the lines, like
I
he's the
know.
favorite.
I know. I saw
Like,
that. I
what
know. I
has he
saw
done
that.
to deserve that? Like, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I mean, yeah, and I really don't. I don't see why there still is so much hype over him. Because okay, yeah, like he made a semi of a 250 this week. That's not terrible. But then you look and he beat Muller and he beat Etch on a pretty fast hard court. Like, is that really
Yeah.
exciting?
And then
And then he lost to I mean, so I guess that leads to the next guy. So he lost to Khachanov.
mhm.
Respect to Khachanov, man. Like he won this tournament without being in good form at all, and he got a trophy.
I think he's just tough as nails, like from a mental perspective and like also a
Yeah,
physical perspective. Like the heat doesn't bother him, right? Like nothing really bothers the guy, right? And I think that's what won him
yeah.
this event. Whereas Korda is very like timing dependent. Like if Khachanov doesn't play that well, he kind of accepts it and just fights his way through. Whereas I feel like Korda doesn't embrace that yet, and he's
Well, I
just
feel like Korda was not happy about the heat. Like I've seen now multiple times when Korda did
yeah,
not look happy about hot conditions. Like,
I know. I mean, his sisters are not complaining when they have to play golf in hot conditions. But I guess
are you
that's
sure? I don't follow the LPGA that well. I don't. Unlike you, Manny, I don't bet the LPGA, so I wouldn't know.
I don't bet it either, but there must be a reason why they're number one in the world and he's struggling to crack the top 20.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah,
I
but
think that covers the event. I mean, another poor performance from Christian Garin.
yeah, he's playing qualies right
Um,
now against Harris, and Harris is up 2-1. So
in the first set.
first set, yep. I didn't bet that match. I had no idea what to do. So, but what are your takeaways on Khachanov? Like, were you impressed that he came away with the tournament? Is he a guy you're gonna like?
I'm impressed that he. I mean, I don't know. I think it's like it's impressive because he's literally the entire time talking about like, and he doesn't do this a lot. Like Khachanov doesn't talk much to start with, but I heard that he was talking about like how he didn't feel good about his form, how he was frustrated about like how he wasn't able to play
Yeah,
up at his peak level. But like to your point, he kept battling and like winning matches and kept advancing in the tournament, and like he found a way to win a trophy at a 250, which is like, was it the strongest field in the history of tennis? Like, no, but
no.
you know, he beat the guys on the draw that were in front of him. Like,
And besides Alex Bolt, he honestly beat like three of the guys who are three of the tougher guys in the draw, to be honest. And
well, and three not horrible players. Like,
yeah,
we like to make fun of Mackey, but like he's top 50, especially on a quick hard court. Like he's top 50 on a quick hard court. Like we make fun of him, but he's a pretty good. He's not like he's not
not
terrible.
terrible. Yeah.
Korda, like we only make fun of Korda because we still feel like the books are valuing him too highly, but like he's still playing at a top 50 level.
Barely.
I'd say
Actually,
like he's somewhere in the 40 range.
I think it's actually embarrassing that Korda couldn't win that match. Like, granted that Khachanov was the one that's injured. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, who do you think has the bigger upside in terms of career potential? Karatsev or Korda? Or Khachanov or Korda? Like, who do you think has a better chance of winning a Masters 1000 in the next 2 years?
Khachanov. But I don't think either has much of a chance. I mean, well, you know what? I'll go Korda only because, and maybe this is a silly way to look at this, but like he gets a bunch of tries at home, right? He gets two at home every year, and he was Miami and Cincinnati. So he gets three at home and a fourth one in Canada. And he gets and like I think like the problem with Kachanov's game is like how does he beat any top players? Unless the top player gets hurt or plays terrible.
Honestly, how does Korda beat any top players? Like he played the match
Well,
of
I
his
mean, look, he beat Medvedev, right? He beat Medvedev in Australia. So if he
right, but
gets
he
back to
played the
that
match of
form,
his life. Like that can happen to anyone. Like I don't see him being able to replicate that. Like he's way below that level right now.
oh, right now for sure. Like he would need to get back up to the level that he was playing at during that run. But during that month, he played Djokovic tough.
That's true.
He beat Medvedev. Like he's shown something. It's a brief period. I'm not like super high on Korda either, but this is more talking about Khachanov. Like Khachanov's awesome. Like I think we both are very, very pro. This is a pretty pro Khachanov pod. But like in terms of like beating Alcaraz, Medvedev,
But
Sinner,
like if you go back, like I think his best run of form was like late 2018 into 2019, where he won that Paris Masters and he beat Djokovic in the final. He beat Zverev in that run. Like, so he's shown that he's capable of it. I don't know. I'm pro Khachanov too, but I actually think he's regressed since that point too. And there's been a period from like 20 to 21 where he hasn't really improved. Like this year has actually been quite good for him, but I don't know. It's like it will be interesting to see who wins a Masters 1000 first between these two guys.
you remember Jack Sock was top 10 in the world at one point based on winning the Paris Masters. I always get weird with Paris Masters because we know that that's an event. Just guys were so gassed out, and I feel like the guys that have made the World Tour Finals are looking ahead.
I understand that, but Khachanov beat Djokovic and Zverev in that event, right? Like Jack Sock was beating, I think he beat Ferrer, right? Like who did?
And didn't he beat like Krajinovic or something in the final?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Is that who it was Krajinovic? I think it was Krajinovic.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5-7, 6-4,
So,
6-1. That's good memory. He beat Julian Benito
I have good memory of Jack Sock.
and he beat Fernando Verdasco in the quarters. So it's not like he's beating Djokovic, Zverev, and Dominic Thiem, right?
Yeah.
Like, a different quality run.
But I'm saying like Ferrer's won that Paris Masters. Like that Paris Masters has had some not odd, but that's been an event that people that if there's a Masters you could like sneak to win, that's probably the one.
It's a fun event to bet. It's a very fun.
It'll be a very interesting event to bet, like because it's definitely like guys are getting to the end of the year, right? And a lot of guys are ready to go take a break from the off season.
Yeah.
All
right. Chengdu.
That was an impressive one for Khachanov. Like,
yeah, very good. Quick break, and then we'll be back to talk Chengdu.
Yep. Chengdu. Back to the pod again.
Back to the pod. All right. Oh, it's good we didn't have our discussion about your coworker's pulled calf on the pod.
Yeah, for real. There's definitely we can definitely talk about some calves. Aslan Karatsev, dude with big calves.
Oh yeah, huge calves.
Before we move on to,
but he can't play defense. He can't move,
which is weird.
It is weird. It's like you know how like some people don't have a thigh gap, right? Like he doesn't have a calf gap.
Yeah,
like it's weird. Like his calves are so massive, like you almost feel like they're going to overlap with each other. It's
you do. You feel he's gonna end up with like one leg. You feel like one day he's gonna walk around with one leg, and he's just gonna like hop around like really quickly. He's gonna have like one leg and 2 feet. He's just gonna like around the court.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Chengdu. So way to go, by the way.
I think the logical place to start is Zverev wins this event as a +1. Well, I took him as a +175 outright.
Did you blast?
Not sure if it was really that good of a bet in the what?
Did you blast Klaus Fugard?
I did not blast Klaus. I felt, you know what? Honestly, I kind of thought about it, and I was like, it came through. But it's hard for me to argue that it was like I don't think it was a terrible bet. Like I don't think it was an egregiously bad bet. I've definitely made a lot worse bets, but I'm not sure it was like. I think it's important. Like we talk a lot of times about like good bets we make that don't come through.
Mhm.
It's important to remember that the opposite happens too, right? Sometimes you make a bet that's not the best and it comes through and you get slightly lucky.
Okay.
And like, I think, look, he was definitely better than every guy he beat in this event. He was definitely going to win all of those matches the vast majority of the time. But given how he played, if I was to go back and do it again, would I take plus 175 again? Probably not. Like, if I knew how he would play, right? Like, I probably would have wanted like
Okay.
220 or something. But like, that's why I'm saying
Right.
it's not that egregious. Yeah, okay. So maybe I was like 30 cents off on a bet, but like you and I can both name bets, especially outrights, that we were way more than 30 cents off on.
Agree.
Like
I mean,
we've had bets.
even though I lost the bet, I actually think I made the right bet here in betting Safiullin at 10-1 after the first round to win the event.
Yeah, I mean, Safiullin was great. Safiullin was excellent this tournament. And he's
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't make a lot of money on him because I kept
He was 2 points away from winning the event.
yeah, yeah.
So I just think with Roman here, like there is a proven track record of results from Wimbledon on to now that show that he's playing really good tennis and is able to back up good results. Like he honestly should have beaten Tommy Paul at the US Open, right? He made the quarterfinals of Wimbledon, and that quarterfinal run wasn't just a pure quarterfinal run. It was him playing actually really good tennis. I remember in that first round match he played
Agut, and he played really well to
Wood,
beat
and
Agut.
he had like I think 70 winners or something insane in a
Yep,
uh,
yep.
5-set match. Like so he's been playing really well, and he beat Mute on grass in straight sets. Like Mute's a decent grass court player. I mean, he's a clown, but like to win that in straights is pretty good. And he destroyed Pela, beat Shapovalov. I mean, Shapovalov at slams on a grass court. Like I think he actually played a decent Wimbledon, was fine. And then he did win a sit against Sinner in the quarters. So like that was a really, really good tournament for him. The US Open, he well, I guess the first round doesn't say much, but like the match against Paul was really good. So like I don't know. I'm impressed with Safiullin and just like what he's doing on the court as well, taking balls really early, just putting a lot of pressure on opponents, and his rally tolerance has improved. So I don't know. He's a guy I'm gonna look to kind of back going forward as well.
So I'm not as excited about him. Like if we look at his wins this week, right? Like he beat Nakashima.
Okay.
Not we talked about
Enough said.
Nakashima. Not
Enough
we're, I
said.
mean, I'm not excited about Nakashima for the rest of
No,
the
I'm
year.
not.
He beat Evans, who I'm pretty sure was still under the influence of something, probably. But like, yeah, I don't like that. I don't think Dan Evans is honestly like I'm fading Dan Evans the rest of the season. Like I don't think I could easily see Van de Zandschulp, and we'll talk about Van de Zandschulp a little bit later, but like he
Mm-hmm.
made a comment I'd heard. I was listening to the Bet Revers podcast, and they said that I think Sean Calvert said that he made Van de Zandschulp made a comment like his only goal the rest of the season is Davis Cup, pretty much, or like his
Okay.
motivation the rest of the season is Davis Cup, or he's like I think it's more like his form's been so bad he knows he's so far away from where he needs to get to. That like the goal is to get back to a decent level for Davis Cup. But
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if Evans was in a similar mode. Like he got Washington, he got his,
Fair.
he's kind of done his work for the year, and like it might be time, he might be kind of I don't know. I think the next big event for him might be trying to get a Davis Cup, but I feel like Evans would really want to win a Davis Cup. I feel like he's that kind of guy.
I agree with that. I don't necessarily agree that Evans has been that bad where he needs to do that. Like VDZ, I understand. But Evans, like he played a really, really good match against Alcaraz at the US Open, won a set. What else? I mean, there were a couple.
Well, it's different, right? Like he won Washington, obviously, right? That's when we all know. Like,
Right.
yeah, I don't think this is a matter. Like, I agree. It's different that like VDZ, he's trying to set a reasonable goal. I think for Evans, it's just pure motivation. That's my question with Evans is pure motivation the rest of the
I
year.
mean, even in like after he won Washington, he went and played Diallo in Toronto. And like he may have been under the influence of something and may have been a little sluggish, but I don't feel like motivation was necessarily the problem. Right? Like he doesn't appear like a guy that comes on court and just like tanks away a match. Like,
no, he's not a clown. Once it's time to show up, like I trust that Evans will. The 2 hours he's on the court, I trust that Evans can do everything he can to win the match. You can't say about everybody on the tour, and so that's a real thing.
yeah, right.
My question is the 24 hours before that match, what is he doing? Is he prepping himself properly for those 2 hours? You know what I mean? Like that's my question with Dan Evans.
Fair. Okay. But I think,
and that's my question. When I talk about motivation with Evans, that's what I'm talking about. Is like, is he gonna really like? Is he gonna be doing everything he can in between events, in between matches to win matches? The next 2 months.
Honestly, like if Evans kind of wakes up and prepares himself, like these kind of conditions are actually good for his game. These quicker indoor courts, like this is actually a time for him where he can make significant progress and improve his ranking going into next year.
I think he should. I think from a career perspective, this would actually be the right part of the season for him to invest in. I think you're right. I think like this is what could get him. Evans is right now, I think, sitting in the low 20s.
Okay.
There's probably a play there to crack the top 20 again, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyways, getting back to Safiullin, so he beat Evans. The Thompson match was really close until Thompson. I don't know what happened there. It looks like it seemed like Thompson just gave up. Like it was very weird. Like it was
very strange.
And it was like an immediate retirement. It was I would say it was an immediate retirement. I'm done. I'm out of here. Like he played 3 points in the second set or something. Like he didn't even like finish a game.
Commentator said maybe he's had this issue before and like knows that he can't continue when that comes up. It's very strange, and like the trainer can't really do anything about it. I don't know. It's weird. It makes me not want to back Thompson going forward, considering if he has something where that's the case. Like, I don't know. I was on Safiullin there, so
I gotta say it's been like for Jordan Thompson, though, it's been a pretty solid 6 months. Like we've seen a solid 6 months of like Jordan Thompson actually showing up and playing tennis, which might be the first 6 months of his career when we've seen him like continuously show up and like really like.
So do you know what makes Thompson a tough out? It's because
I think it's just his variety. I think he's variety. He's good at the net. He has a pretty complete game. I think that's what makes him a tough out.
But that's true with all the Australians. But you know why this year he's been pretty good? It's because of his second serve points won. I think he's number 2 on the tour in second serve points won this year.
That's interesting.
Interesting stat. Let me see if I could pull it up. I thought he was. Maybe I'm wrong. But I mean, we picked him on our second serve points team, right?
We did, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he is. He's at 57.6%. I think I think if you took like a minimum number of matches, he'd probably be there. You have to, but
is it this year?
But yeah, Djokovic is number 1. He's number 2.
He's number 2, right?
But it's a weird list because like this is what tells you that second serve points won isn't really that crucial of a stat because like, all right, Jordan Thompson's second, third is Dominic Kepfer, fourth is a Goop this year. Like it's not really a list of like a murderer's row list.
Okay.
It's also second serve points won is kind of a funky thing because like it's a little bit of a strategic, like, I don't know, you can work around that by like getting more first serves in, right? And like different guys have different strategies as to how they play their serve.
But Thompson
Like
has,
Zverev's a really good example of it.
yeah, but Thompson does have a good second serve. Like, I don't think anyone can deny that.
No, I'm not saying he
Right?
doesn't, but I'm saying like, um, it goes to a broader thing that we'll talk about. Probably one of our off-season pods will be talking about this in some detail because I've started looking at this in a little more detail. But some interesting statistical trends I've seen throughout the year, and one of them is that I don't really think that second serve percentage points, like announcers talk about it all the time. I
Yeah.
don't think in the long term it's as meaningful of a stat as many other stats that don't get talked about.
So
Like it matters.
what are a few stats that don't get talked about enough?
So I think the most important stat in tennis is one that people don't like to talk about, and it's first serve points won on return.
Okay.
And it kind of makes sense, right? Because like the vast majority of points are going to be first serve points.
Right.
Right. So like, and there's more of a gap there. So I mean, you might have noticed this in our second serve challenge, but like there's a lot of variance on second serve points won, and
There's a lot of variance.
And everybody's pretty close to 50%. Like second serve points are really a coin toss. And like we know this because like even anecdotally, when you say like statistics for like a Djokovic match, it's amazing because Djokovic will maybe be 60% on like long rallies.
True. It's a good point. I mean, there were certain instances where like Djokovic, I think, was like 35 or 40% on second serve points, which was like crazy, right?
Are you back?
I'm back. Sorry for the technical glitch.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, so I guess what I was saying, like, we notice how close everybody's to second, and it makes sense because like even you see like Djokovic matches in like the mid to long rallies are pretty competitive. It's like maybe 55 to 60% of points that like, and like Joe, and that's considered like dominant on those long rallies, right? Like he maybe wins that percentage of those long rallies. Like really where the difference is off the first serve, you know, ability to get points off the first serve and then ability to limit the other guy getting them. It's just like, it's a weird thing because like, there's a big difference between like winning, you know, 35% and 25% of first serve return points, but both still feel like you're losing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, for our next slam, we should probably do like a first serve points return challenge, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, because there might be less variance there. But you're right. It was kind of alarming that like it didn't really make an impact on who actually won the match. Everyone talks about it being so important, but like maybe it isn't. And like maybe that stat that Jordan Thompson is second, the fact that there's so many of other guys like not even in the top 10 that are, you know, in the top 10 of that stat, it just shows.
Yeah, I think there's also a difference between like stats that matter on a given day and stats that matter over the long term. So like, you know, like in baseball, right? Like how well a team hits with runners in scoring position on an individual day matters a ton. Because if you get like one hit out of 8 and the other team gets like 4 hits out of 8, which can easily happen in a game, like, yeah, that's going to probably decide the game.
Yeah.
But like over the long term, it's never going to be that big of a gap, right? And I think the same thing is true over second serve points. Like, yeah, we saw matches where like we saw random things like Djokovic winning like 35% of second serve points against Shelton or whatever.
Right.
But like that's not going to happen. Like if they do that 10 times, it's probably not happening again.
Yeah, you never expect that to be against Shelton of all players, right?
Right. Right. So like,
yeah.
So kind of interesting. Anyways, we kind of we digress, but that's kind of the whole point of this pod, anyways. Getting back to so we started on Safiullin, right? So his other win was Musetti, which is also Musetti. Like my learning from this is, man, Musetti's just not. He still is who he is. Like he's getting better on on these other surfaces, but like this, we also have to be careful of like this is a fast hard court, right? The Chengdu is probably one of the fastest hard courts on the tour, if not the fastest. Like this is a fast hard court, and like
Well,
Musetti's still not a
we
fast
thought
court
that
player.
backing Rinderknecht against Musetti would be, a good play, right? Considering Rinderknecht is like big serve, big forehand, like faster court should favor his game, right? And like Rinderknecht just played shitty and like it sucked because I had the plus 800 to win the quarter.
Yeah.
And we had him like to win that match as well. And then like Musetti comes up against Roman, right? And like just gets destroyed. So it's like, I don't know. He's really tough to bet in these conditions or like on these courts. I don't really know what to
Yeah, you
make.
can bet him. He's easier to bet on. Like you can count on him more on like slow courts, but on fast courts, I just feel like his whole game takes like so much time,
Yeah.
and is so based on timing, and is so based on like he's got so much flair, and it feels like with Musetti, he's looking to hit like quality balls so much. Like he almost feels like that kid that's at like the tennis club that like hits really good shots, like really really pretty
Yeah.
balls, but like doesn't adjust, doesn't like
Yeah.
can't play matches very well. And he like Musetti almost feels like that kid who's just way, way better, but like flair and strokes, incredible.
Yeah.
But like ability to win matches, especially on quicker courts where he's not as comfortable, like alarmingly not good for his talent level.
Yeah. He's the kind of guy where like exactly you go to a club, right? You see like 2 points of a match, right? And the player plays 2 amazing points and wins, yet you look at the scoreboard and he's down 5-1.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, how is this possible? Right. And then you actually kind of
Yep.
watch the match further and you see kind of what he does, right? Like, as you said, doesn't adjust tactically, doesn't do what it takes to win, and that's why he's losing, right? But like that's Musetti. That's Musetti. That's a great way of
Yeah.
putting it. It's a great way of putting it. And it's kind of you could say the same as about Dimitrov too. The next guy we
Yeah.
want.
Dimitrov's game, I just think Dimitrov's base game plays more all rounded
Yeah.
on different surfaces. And so it doesn't hurt him as bad. Like it's much more obvious with Musetti.
So do you think Dimitrov, I wanted to ask you this. Do you think Dimitrov slices too many backhands? And do you think he slices due to poor tactics, or do you think he slices because he knows that his backhand isn't that good?
I think his slice backhand is really good. And so he slices like what would seem to be a lot of backhands, but his slice backhand, he is really good at executing it.
He has
Does
a
he
really,
overslice?
but see, I agree he has a good slice in itself, but I feel like he doesn't hit the slice with purpose. It doesn't build the rally to his favor, is what I'm saying. Like when Federer used his backhand slice, he had a great slice, but it was always to open up the rally to get to his forehand or to come into net, or it had more purpose. Whereas like with Dimitrov, I feel like the slice, it just doesn't have purpose. It's just a pretty shot per se. And that's where he gets in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I hear you. I just don't think like I don't think Dimitrov's backhand is that bad either. Like his one hander is like his standard backhand isn't that bad. His topspin backhand.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's not as good relative to other players as his slices. So I probably agree with you that maybe he slightly over slices, but I just think like it's I don't know. It's tough to win rally. Like, yeah, I don't know. I
But it's
if
always the
anything, like
same
I guess I could see your
slice. Like I wish he would implement the short slice a little bit, where like it just doesn't have any purpose. It's the same slice over and over again. It's that low, pretty backhand slice cross court. And then he doesn't like use his feet to use the forehand or change the direction. Like he might hit one up the line.
well, that's what I was gonna say more, Manny.
Like
I think it's kind of indicative of his whole game, where like Dimitrov's got a ton of variety, but I agree with you that he could like maybe use it better, like utilize it
Yeah.
like utilize it better. You know what I mean? Like I hear your point because I think it's yeah, he's got a lot of variety, but he kind of does like it doesn't feel like
Just
it's like
materialize.
he's not optimized. It's not
Yeah,
optimized at all.
right.
Like
Exactly. Exactly. And it works against a guy like Christopher O'Connell, right? Or a guy like Juan Pablo Varillas, right? That he beat. But against a guy like Zverev, like he's played him enough and the tactics are the same. Like I didn't see any, I watched the match. I don't see any difference in tactics at the French Open or the Cincinnati match as I saw in this match. Like the US Open match was close the first two sets because he played the best tennis of his life during those two sets and then he gassed out. Right? Like, so I'm not taking those two sets as how the actual matchup is. That's why I hit them at
right.
2.5 games. Like that should be 3.5, 4 games. I was actually surprised that more people on Twitter were not on that because like
I just like I think it's a surface thing, right? Like I think it's a really fat like in that matchup, like that was like if there was a day where Dimitrov was gonna like if there was a day where the dog Dimitrov was gonna have its day, that would be the day. And like I could never back it because I think it's such a bad matchup. But like I'm saying, if there were a day, that would be the day, and so that's why I stayed away. Like you put that on
I
like a
don't think you
slower
could
hard
bet that
court.
way though. Like if you've seen enough of it, like was the US Open semifinal the day that Medvedev would beat Alcaraz?
No, not at all. Like Medvedev just happened to play an amazing match.
Okay, I mean, like we've seen this matchup on quick courts, slow courts, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but and you were right. Like clearly in retrospect, I think you were right. And I think your logic was correct in retrospect.
Mhm.
But I guess like that was my logic is that I thought that
Okay.
I thought that like I like and I didn't bet it, right? Like I didn't bet it. I thought that like I
Right.
thought that like 2.5, 3 games, like that's something in that plus 200 range, that 170 to 200 was probably the right 150 to 200 range was probably the right
Yeah.
spread. Um so like it's not like I ever thought Dimitrov was a favorite. And we talked about it pre-tournament, right? And like that's part of why I took this Zverev plus 170 because
Right.
we literally looked at it and we said, who's going to beat Zverev? Which is honestly what it ended up being. Like Zverev didn't even play well. It was just a matter of like there was nobody else in the tournament that even could beat B-level Zverev.
Right. Right.
Um,
True.
but the point is like if there was a place like that was and Dimitrov's beaten Zverev before, but like to win, that's like I think that's that's like what Dimitrov would choose. If Dimitrov could choose a court to beat Zverev, I think it would be that maybe grass because the ball would skid for his slice a little better because
Probably
Zverev doesn't really
grass.
slice.
It's probably grass, like a
But like that's not far off. Like that Chengdu court's
yeah,
not far off of what Dimitrov would
true.
choose.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. But
Um,
I mean Zverev didn't play well, but like he was obviously motivated, right? Like
which I thought was pretty like is that's the part where I would have faded anybody's take who thought that Zverev wasn't going to. It's like it's clear he's even I think he even said in an interview like he wants to make his goal is to make top 8. Like he wants to because that would prove that he's back to pre-injury, which would be a pretty big accomplishment.
would. I mean, why would he play Chengdu if he wasn't motivated to be there, right? Like he would just skip it.
He would play Laver Cup if he
Right.
wanted to play. If he just wanted to play an event and show up and clown around, he would play Laver Cup because like yeah.
Exactly. And he said before that he loves the Laver Cup. Like he loves that event, right? So
Yeah. No, he
yeah,
wants points. It's
wants
very
more.
clear that he wanted a trophy and he wanted points.
Yeah.
And he give him credit, man. He got his 250. Like that's a big deal. I think he passed. I think he passed Rune. I think he's an 8th now.
Yep.
Yeah.
An ATP title,
He's in 7th now, not 8th.
ATP titles don't come easily, right? Like a title is
No.
they don't come
Yeah.
easily, right? Like you're in a 32-man draw and only one one player wins, right? Only
Well,
one.
28, but yeah, 28 and you got to
Yeah,
buy, so it's really 16. But yeah, you still have to win
yeah,
4 tennis matches against like
yeah,
real opponents.
right, right. So
I mean, we make fun of Mio Kecmanovic, but like he's scary. Like he's just tough to bet, which is why we make fun of him. But like he's scary on a good day.
yeah, I guess.
Dimitrov's a good tennis player. Like
Yeah,
beating Dimitrov is not like
we bash on him, but yeah, I mean, he is a good tennis player.
yeah, like
Yay.
um
Team Europe could have used him. Oh yeah, so
yeah, yeah.
before we move on to Beijing and Astana, as far as my Laver Cup bets, so I hammered um Team World to win at -120. I just thought that that was a no-brainer. Like they're so much better. And doubles as well. Um I just like Team Europe had no good doubles players. So I thought at -120 was a great value bet. I actually used a risk-free bet on Caesars to cash that, so that was nice. And then
Nice.
Ben Shelton to have most points at +900. I thought that was a
That's
no-brainer.
amazing.
Shelton was going to play all the doubles matches. Like he was by far the best doubles player on
Yeah.
either team. So that was really good. So I don't know. The Laver Cup, like the lines are not that sharp, right? Because I just feel
Well, it's
like
also a weird event because this whole team environment, like this in Davis Cup, you are also like these team events,
Mhm.
especially I think this Laver Cup and Davis Cup, you really have to like I think there's relevance in looking at how does the player play in team events. Because like if you look at team like the little bit I saw out of Team Europe, the
Mhm.
biggest difference in this matchup didn't seem to be tennis. It seemed to be that like Team World was really in this event. Just like those guys really wanted to like succeed for the team. And Team Europe, even outside of Monfils, like didn't seem like the same level of interest was there, to be honest. And it could have been because they got beat down, but it just I don't know. The little bit that I saw, it didn't really seem like
I don't necessarily feel that way. I just felt like Team World won all the important points, and
okay.
that's probably why you feel that take because they Team Europe the whole weekend they didn't rise to the occasion, right? Like they were competitive in a lot of sets, but like any important point didn't go their way. Like when Team Europe was up a break in specific matches, you just couldn't hold on to it. And like I think part
Yeah.
of it was Rublev was in bad like he's actually in bad form right now. Like he's actually a guy I would consider fading, to be honest. We'll get into that a little later. But and like Hubie, you know, like they assigned him to play singles and doubles like on the two most important matches. Like that's not gonna really go well, you know? I don't know. Like,
Well, why not? He was a solid player. I just don't know if he's
yeah, but
like that's
this
what I'm saying. I
court
think like the team
actually
environment.
this court actually plays pretty slow. The Laver Cup Black Court
Yeah.
is actually a
Yeah.
pretty slow court. I thought it was quicker, but it's actually slow. Um, and I don't know. It's just like he has to serve, but nothing else. You know, so on a slow court, it's just gonna play. It's not really good for him.
Yeah.
Like
I
those
don't know. I'm still convinced
the
a little
European
bit. I mean, you're
guys,
right. It could be a chicken egg,
yeah, the European
but I
guys
did
prefer
get that.
slower courts. Whereas the or no, the European well, I just said it's a slow court, so maybe not. I guess.
I think it's more. I think it's like I said. I'll take the like. I don't think I'm gonna completely like I said. I didn't watch nearly as much of it as you did, obviously, because you were
Yeah.
there. But the
Mhm.
little bit that I saw, and obviously it could be a chicken egg thing, but it really did feel to me like the the team world guys were like. I think it also you had 3 guys on that. Like you had a bunch of like that team world guy really ended up being mostly Americans. And then right, it was Paul, Shelton, Tiafo, uh FAA. Who else played for Team World?
I mean, Paul.
Right now, I said Paul, Shelton, Tiafo, FAA, Cerundolo.
Cerundolo. Yeah, that's it.
Was that it? So it was like
Oh, yeah, I think that's it. 6 guys you mentioned,
okay, so
right?
it was just 5. What?
No, we're missing one. Cerundolo, FAA, Shelton, Tiafo, Paul, and Fritz.
Oh, Fritz played right. So you
Right.
got 4 Americans, right? And like
Right.
a Canadian. Like, I don't know. I just feel like you're like
You
from a
know,
team perspective, right? Like that's like a team, right? That those guys like all know each other and like hang out and are like buddies, and you know what I mean. Like there's gonna be more of a team there than with Europe, where it's like it's a collection of dudes who like
right.
I don't know, they know each other, but they're
They
like
just
it's
came
like
together.
I think
Yeah.
what
They just came together for
like,
this event because no one
and
else
I
wanted
think the
to
real
play.
challenge is like it's kind of my reflection on this is like the real challenge for Laver Cup is like how does this event function in a post Big Three era? Because like the only reason this event worked was because of the Big Three.
Um, I disagree with that. I think this event this year did not work because it was so lopsided, right? Like if that event gets to the last match or it's 12 all and they're playing a deciding tiebreak to see who wins, that creates drama in itself, right? A reason why I love the event is not just because of the big three, it's because of like Jack Sock and Kyrgios' silly celebrations on the bench, right? Like, so if an underdog rises to the occasion, the public is going to kind of rally around them too. Like, I felt like in previous editions, they didn't just root for World, like the viewers didn't just root for World because the big three were there, right? Like they
But I
wanted
don't mean it from the same
something.
perspective as you do. I guess this is my point, right? Like, um, there are like alliances, right? And like kind of like buddies in tennis, right? And and like rivals who also become friends, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
you look at the Team World this year, right? That was like it was basically Team America, right? 2/3 of the team was Americans. Like
Yeah.
you basically have Team USA, right? And then that's why Davis Cup works is because like you have a team that like naturally is like a team, and like all those like the guys on the tour from the same country tend to kind of like run together, right? And
Yeah.
tend to like practice together and go out to dinner together and kind of like form a social circle. Like they have to, right? It's like it's just easier in life to have friends when you go places. And like it's a
Right.
natural way to have friends.
Right.
So like you have like on one hand you have this Team America that's like really a team, and like like it just because they all are already buddies, and like and probably the
Yeah.
Canadian guys jumped in with the American guys, right? And so like they all kind of run together. Whereas like Team Europe, you're like when you had the big three, right? Those guys were playing each other so much they became like they were doing so many media events together and so much
Yeah, they
together
were
they were probably just like
acquaintances,
became like
right? Like, yeah. Right.
yeah, natural friends and natural acquaintances. Whereas like now you're putting like Fokina and Feast, like these guys,
Yeah.
like they don't, you know what I mean? Like they're not like they don't have any like they don't have any like special reason to care for each other. Like
Well, I
so it
think
just
another thing that doesn't go talked about is the difference in captains. I think John McEnroe is so much better than Bjorn Borg. Like Borg doesn't offer any insight or any advice to his players, whereas McEnroe is like he gets in their ear, right? Like, and when you
I
have
don't think like the advice matters nearly as much as like the attempts to try making the event cooler. Right? Like I think like I don't think McEnroe's advice, like specifically the words he's saying or what's winning the event, it's the fact that like McEnroe's into it and animated, like again, like it brings some like excitement to the event. Whereas like Team World without the big three, or not Team World, Team Europe without the big three, there's nothing. Like there's nothing to get excited
yeah,
about. Like if Alcaraz shows up and Djokovic shows up, then there's something to get excited about. Because again, those are
that's
like
right. Yeah,
natural acquaintances, right?
right.
And like also like you could tell, right, with the big like when the big three showed up, like people would like gravitate to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like who's like if Alcaraz and Djokovic don't show up, who is the leader that like people are
Yeah,
gonna like
I
the
guess
Team
if it
Europe
was
gonna
like
gravitate to?
Alcaraz, Rune, Sinner, right? Like if you have those two guys, like those three guys in there, right? Like that would create some attention.
I think you need Alcaraz or Djokovic. I think those are the only two guys that have like that pull
Clout.
from the tour. Like I don't think Sinner's developed those natural rivalries yet, or that like that kind of like star power per se to
Yeah,
like
but
pull guys in yet.
at least he's a name, and he's like, we shit on him on this pod, but like he's a top guy, right?
It would help, right? But like it's just like
I hear you. I hear
I don't
you.
know. There's it's enough Laver Cup, but yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Like
Yeah. Yeah, just make like Federer and Roddick the captains, like I don't know. I think that would help, and I don't know. I don't know. All right, let's
they do need to have like they need to have stars. And like I don't know what they do to get Djokovic and Alcaraz to show up. I don't know if it's a different part in the calendar. I don't know if they pay them more, but like they need to have like they need to have like that's an event. Like there are like we kind of bitch about this all the time how tennis is so star centric, but like for an event like a Laver Cup, like what is in reality a glorified exhibition, that event requires stars or requires like a reason for people. Like Team World can be all the Americans, and like that's enough of a reason to show up, right? Because then it's all like a country, right? So there's like some sort of like pride that goes with it. Like you get a Canadian and 4 Americans, like there's some reason to show up for that, right? Because it's like a national pride thing.
To me, a bigger importance is that it gets to the last match or the second to last match, and there's drama in the score. I don't know if that's just the tennis junkie in me talking.
I think that's the tennis junkie in you, because I don't think that like
I don't know. I feel like all those people at the stadium, they would be there if there were if it went 3 or 4 matches. Like,
but I guess, but I'm not even talking about that. I'm like talking about like how does Team World actually care enough to compete and to like to win unless the couple of stars, like in case somebody shows up, unless like somebody has to pull that like again, like Davis Cup works because like the teams are going to inherently be like interested in caring, right? There's something real to play for. Like Team Europe, there's nothing to play for unless like what is the meaning of Team Europe, right? Like the reason why the Golf Ryder Cup works is honestly because like Team Europe is always at least like a quarter British dudes because the British are so good at golf, right? And it basically becomes like the British dudes come and they kind of like not even the like the UK dudes come because the Irish whatever, like British,
it's
Irish,
not an
Scottish doesn't
exhibition,
matter.
and it has that history. And then throughout the year, they're trying to perform well to get on that team. Whereas like,
but it's also a limited number of countries. Like the guys that are like playing in that event, and it's different tours. Like there's a lot that's different in golf, but like there's a reason for those guys to run together, right? Those guys have some sort of natural cohesion together. Whereas like this Laver Cup, like pulling this team like Europe together, like there's no cohesion. There's no reason for any cohesiveness with that team.
Right.
Like there's no reason for these guys. Like there's really no reason for these guys to care unless like their buddies show up and then they decide to come play with their buddies. But
the
like,
last thing I want to talk about with Laver Cup is the Federer fetish that people have. Like, it just disgusts me every time he's on.
You know what, Manny?
It's like the biggest roar is when he's on the screen. I mean, like, people are taking more pictures of him sitting on his ass, right, playing Where's Waldo with Federer than they are looking at the tennis. It's just like I just can't stand it. Like,
but that's always true, man. That's that. I mean, we're just like, I mean, I pee into the wind more than anybody on this, so it's pot calling kettle black. But like tennis is so like, and you're kind of, I mean, like you're the more guilty one of us on this pod, right? Where like tennis is so star centric that people only care about 3 guys at a time. Like it's just not like, and honestly, all the individual sports have this problem. Where like it's like, like we've gone to events, right? And we've seen like and like Federer's the extreme example of it, but like the same thing happens with Nadal. It's not to the same extent, but the same thing happens with Nadal.
But I just think like Federer is kind of doing the event a disservice indirectly by showing his face there, right? Like, he'll never admit that or really, say, but like, I actually think he's not the event itself, but the game of tennis, right? Like, because like it's time to move on from him. You know, he's not playing anymore. It's not his time to
I
shine.
agree.
Right?
I agree. I agree.
But like if Federer, this is his event, right? He loves this event, right? If he really wanted the event to shine for the tennis and the product that they're showing on the court, it would be better for the event if he didn't come.
Or if he captained.
Yeah, you got to be part of it in some way, but just like being like an outsider and just showing your face, like it's not good for the event. That's kind of where I'm heading.
It's not good. It's not good for the long-term health of the event. I hear that.
No one's gonna say that, but I think that's
Yeah,
like
and Federer's, it's
yeah.
but I think it's indicative of a larger problem, right? Where like tennis has this issue where like tennis needs to figure out how to sell more than 5 guys at a time.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. All right, let's head to Beijing. Let's talk
We're going
about
to talk about some actual betting now for once.
yes.
So we'll go to the Beijing draw. Stat draw, man.
Stack draw. This is a great 500, man. So we got
Well, you know it's a fantastic 500 event when you see the second round of qualifying is Arnaldi Vukic, Harris Garin, Wolf Purcell, and Kecmanovic Hoffman.
that's a really good.
And that's qualifying.
That's insane. Yeah. It's really, really good.
Like this is actually a better draw than a lot of than some of the Masters.
I agree. I think Beijing pays really well, which is why people go.
Well, it's also that the rules require that the players play like they have to play a post US Open 500 or else they get like they get a 0 on their points for it. They get like docked points.
But I mean, there's Vienna and Basel coming up, right? Like there are other 500s.
Are Vienna and Basel still 500s?
Yeah. Tokyo.
Okay, because I know Astana was and got downgraded.
Yeah, Astana got downgraded to 250, but so we got Alcaraz, number 1 seed. He's back after the US Open semifinal loss to Medvedev. He'll play a qualifier in the first round. He'll play the winner of Khachanov against Musetti, first round match. Then we got qualifier. We'll play Thomas Martin Echeverry. And then we got Jan-Lennard Struff against Casper Ruud. So what catches your eye here? The first quarter.
I want to fade Alcaraz so badly in this tournament.
Yeah.
But like this quarter is so weak. Like for how strong the event is, this quarter is weak. Like you got Khachanov, who's still not in good form, and it's just a bad matchup for against Alcaraz.
I agree.
Musetti, we just bashed on a, and this isn't so. It's worth mentioning. This is like a pretty neutral hard court. To neutral, I would say neutral. Like I would say this is neutral.
It's not.
I think the ITF rates it as what?
I thought it was pretty.
I think the ITF rates this as a 3 out of 5. I'm pretty sure this is a neutral
really?
hard court. We haven't seen this event since 19, but I think this is neutral. This is not this. In fact, the surface might be a little on the slow side, and then like similar to Indian Wells, this court also plays a lot slower at night.
Interesting.
Because it's outdoor, and they play a lot of the matches here at night.
Is there altitude in Beijing?
I don't think at the tennis center. I think the like center of the city of Beijing is pretty close to sea level.
Yeah. Okay. So it's pretty neutral. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I want to find a way to fade Alcaraz in some capacity here, but I just can't find a way in that quarter.
Yeah.
Next quarter, you got Holger Rune against Felix Auger-Aliassime, 2 guys who are really struggling. Mackie McDonald against Grigor Dimitrov. Jun Chen Shang against Yoshi. It's an interesting first round match. And then Dan Evans against Yannick Sinner. This is a very, very interesting quarter. Very interesting. Man. I mean, obviously you can't trust Holger Rune or FAA in any capacity. Mackey,
Well, I mean,
Dimitrov.
I guess that's an interesting conversation because, like, yeah, I guess it depends on like, I don't know. We'll talk about that a little bit more. I think I agree with you, but man, like, is FAA starting to like FAA's won a couple of matches in the past month, right? He won a couple of matches that like again, I didn't follow
Laver
it well
Cup.
enough to actually know, but
Well,
he won a match or two at Laver Cup, right?
he
I know
won
he
one
beat
match
Clowning
against,
Monkeys, but
yeah, he won one match against Monfils. It's like the only match he was actually like showed some emotion and fire in, like shitting on Monfils for not taking it seriously. Like it's just it just felt like the one match that Felix shows up for is a match that doesn't matter. You know? I don't
yeah, yeah.
know. It's just
Um,
and then Holger Rune, I think he's hurt, right? He has that back problem.
yeah.
Oh.
Rune is not in good shape. I'm not trusting Rune. I need to see him do something before I'm going to trust him.
Apparently there are rumors that
That
he
to me is
hired Fernando Verdasco as his coach. Did you hear about that?
I did not. That's interesting. I don't know why you would do that, but that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. But in terms of this
Um,
quarter, I mean, our quarter price is up.
I haven't seen quarter. I've seen event prices. I haven't seen quarter.
Haven't seen quarters. Yeah, I mean, Jesus. It's probably Sinner here, but it's like I don't know. Sinner hasn't played since the US Open. I have trouble backing him on anything on the futures market when you haven't seen him in a while. And I'd have to see.
Yeah, I just think it's tough because I think like Sinner's clearly by far the best look in this quarter. I had saw it on Bet365. He's 5-1 to win the event. Futures won't be up because in the middle of qualies.
That's right. Yeah.
But I saw I saw some futures on Bet365. I saw Sinner at 5-1 to win the event. Tough to back him at 5, which means he can't be more than even money to win the quarter. I've got a tough, I don't know.
I'm probably just gonna stay away from that quarter entirely. Now heading to
Yeah,
the bottom half.
I mean, the only interesting play here in my mind, I don't know them actually going to do it, but like, yeah, it's so hard to do it because, like, I guess FAA is like starting to show maybe more of a pulse than he was
I gotta see
before.
more from him in
Like,
actual tour events. I gotta see him win like 2 or 3 matches in a row before I start backing him again.
I'm not saying Laver Cup. I'm saying like, and this is a really low bar for FAA, but like, he did beat Berrettini in Cincinnati. He did win a set from McDonald in the US Open. Like, again, this is an incredibly low bar, right? But like, he's showing more of a pulse than he did, you know, from like during like the
Yeah,
summer.
lost at 6 straight sets to Monorino in Cincy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's he lost straight sets to Watanuki in Washington. Like it doesn't. No, I'm not. I'm not buying it. Like I don't know. I I
I'm
want to
not
bet.
buying it from a betting perspective. I'm just saying, like,
The only
this is a
bet
really
I would
tough.
want to hit in the Rune FAA match is over on unforced errors. That's what I would play, but I don't think that's a bet. But all right, bottom half of the draw, you got Zverev against Schwartzman, Fokina against Ji Zhao, 2 qualifiers, and then Nico Yari and Stefanos Tsitsipas. Ooh, that's tasty. I like Zverev to win this quarter, man.
Yeah, so do I, man. So do I.
I don't know what price you're gonna get, but the fact that Tsitsipas is there, like, you're probably gonna get like plus 100, maybe like even money,
I would think better. I mean, the
right?
only concern here, yeah. And I don't, yeah.
The only concern is Foki. Or
Yeah,
maybe
that's the biggest concern here is Foki. I agree.
or maybe
Yeah.
the qualifiers, to be honest. Like if he has to play Arnaldi or something.
Yeah,
Right?
that could be a scary match.
Like JJ Wolf. I mean JJ Wolf or Arnaldi. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would be inclined to hit Zverev there. Then the last quarter, you got Andre Rublev against Cam Norrie, Ugo Humbert against Lorenzo Sonego. You got Alex de Minaur against Andy Murray. And then you got probably the match of the first round, Tommy Paul and Medvedev. That's a great first round match.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's anything here. Like, I saw Medvedev is 3.5 to 1 to win the event. Given
No,
that draw, that's a damn tough price to take him on.
that is. I mean, that's the toughest first round match. Then you got de Minaur, who he's lost to already, right? And de Minaur took a set off of him in at the US Open. I mean, the quarter he should win. He owns Rublev, and Rublev is not in the best form. And then Zverev is always kind of plays him tough. That's always like, tricky match. And then it's Alcaraz, Sinner. So no,
So here's some outrights to win the event, right? From a betting perspective,
Yeah.
here's some outrights. You've got Alcaraz at 137 from Bet365, Medvedev at 3.5, Sinner at 5 to 1, Zverev 9 to 1, Tsitsipas 14, Rublev 14, Ruud 22, Dimitrov 25, de Minaur 28, Foki 33, FAA 40, Rune, Norrie, Khachanov all at 50, Paul, Musetti, Murray, Yari at 66. Just for completeness, Yoshi, Humbert, Evans at 80, Sonego, McDonald, Schwartz, and Sonego, McDonald at 100, Schwartzman at 200, everybody else at 250. Etch is below Schwartzman, which seems ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't really matter because neither of them have any chance, but it's just funny to see these.
So
outliers.
I have one play here. My one play is Zverev at 9 to 1. And I think that's the only play with decent value, to be honest. Because I think he's in a weak quarter. And he plays Medvedev tough, right? Like Medvedev is the slightly better player, but each match they played is 3 sets. I don't know. I think he's definitely the second favorite to win that bottom half. And then considering we don't know what we're going to see from Alcaraz and considering it could be potentially Sinner in the final, he could win that, right? So
I've got a tough time here. I don't have a play here. The argument, here's my thoughts, is that I can't play Alcaraz at 137. That's just not playable.
I agree.
There's no value there. I actually think this is a fade spot for him, so I don't want that. But the problem is so I actually think Sinner could beat, I think Sinner could make the final, but I don't think he can beat Medvedev if Medvedev gets through. And even if he has to play Zverev and he's gassed out again, I think that's a tough match. So I don't see how. So I think it's gonna be tough for Zverev to win. 5 to 1's not nearly good enough to me to play Zverev. On the top half, besides Zverev and Alcaraz, who am I going to play?
No, Zverev is on the bottom half.
Sorry, I meant Sinner. Sinner and Zverev, Sinner and Alcaraz are the only guys on the top half that in my mind are remotely playable to win the event.
I'd agree with you there.
Right? Unless you wanted to get really crazy and play I don't know.
No, there's no one. Those are the only 2 guys on the top half that can win the event.
I mean, you'd have to get crazy and play somebody at super long odds. Yeah, I don't even know who you would be. I guess the best candidate would be FAA at 40 because it's a big price. I'm not saying I would do it, Manny. I'm not going to do it, but I'm saying I don't even it's just there's nobody else you can play.
I mean, I can't trust Sinner in the futures. Also in China,
we talked about that a million times. Yep, even in the best of 3, you can't trust them.
No, and then also in China where you don't know what kind of food they're eating. He has that propensity for getting some viral illnesses and stuff like that. No, thank you.
I just think beyond that's all well and good.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna have to beat more than likely Alcaraz. Like he's a dog against Alcaraz, right? You would agree with that?
Absolutely.
It's like Sinner's a dog. Like he's not a huge dog. He could win that match, but he's a dog against Alcaraz, and then
Mhm.
he's probably a dog in the final. So it's at 5-1. I can't really back somebody who's going to be a dog in the semis and the finals, and who has the potential to have to who you can't trust to make it through the event. So
That's why I like
Sinner's
Zverev at
unplayable.
9-1 because, like, first of all, he's motivated. He wants the points. And then, like, he plays Medvedev probably the second toughest in this entire draw after Alcaraz.
So the issue I've got there,
It's 9-1. It's
the
it's
head to
almost
head,
double.
what?
It's 9-1. It's almost double what you get with Sinner.
My issue there is the head to head with Medvedev for Zverev. It looks good. It looks okay because it's technically it's 9-7. But Zverev won the first four before Medvedev became who he is before 2019.
Understood, but
Since
like
2019,
but the four matches that they played this year have been tight 3-setters. And Zverev won the last.
Medvedev beat him in straights in Rome, 2-6, but there was one tight set.
That's hard court. That's okay. They're two hard court.
I don't know. I think if those guys play, yeah, Zverev could win, but I think it's like 3-1.
Really? No, that's where we differ. Like, I think Medvedev probably wins that 65% of the time.
So you think it's more like 2-1 as opposed to 3? So then that's the difference. That's where we differ. So yeah, I mean, that because given that
Medvedev
I don't think
has a really tough
Medvedev,
draw, so I don't think it's a guarantee that he makes it.
No, but I also don't think
like I think the
Zverev
chances that
a guarantee to make it coming off a win coming off a win.
He's gonna have a couple days off. I don't think it's really gonna impact him, to be honest, physically. But I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I can't. 9-1's not good enough for me to take Zverev, given that like I think like, but again, it all comes down to me being like this is why I think Alcaraz makes it this draw impossible bet, because like
he does.
If anybody has to run into Alcaraz at some point, they're a dog, and they're a pretty big dog, right? And so it's really hard to take guys in futures at any price lower than 10-1 when you know there's a good chance they're going to run into a match and be a dog, and a significant dog.
Yeah. I mean, he's the only like remote play for me. Like I didn't even consider playing anyone else. That was the only one I sprinkled a little bit on. I don't think I even did it.
Yeah, it's the only one that I can see. I mean, I think the other interesting play here, and I'm not doing it, but I think it's an interesting look, is Paul at 66. Because I think that draw is overrated if he can beat Medvedev in the first round.
I hear what you're saying, but like Paul actually hasn't been good. He lost to Ruud at Laver Cup, and like since the U.S. Open, he has not been good. He lost to Rusevori at Davis Cup. You know, that loss to Shelton was not good. Like it was like Shelton played decently, but like that was not a good performance from Paul. So he's regressed since those two Alcaraz matches. And
I agree with you, Manny, and I'm not playing.
I'm not
you know what I mean? I'm not playing it, but I'm saying like in terms of interesting looks.
Yeah.
Like I think we've covered the interesting looks. I think the interesting looks are Paul at 66. Zverev at 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not playing either of them because I don't think it's quite good enough, but I hear the argument for Zverev. It's just I don't think it's quite good enough.
Okay. All right, let's go over individual matches in Beijing. So the first
Yep.
match is Alejandro Davidovich Fokina against Ji Zhao. Fokina is a 7-game favorite, 33-1, or not 33-1, minus 3,300 on the money line, which is crazy. Over under 18, and Ji Zhao is plus 1,200. So my play here is taking the 7 games for Ji Zhao. Do I have your backing?
Zhao is a futures level player. He's ranked like 900 in the world. I can't. Like I'm not playing this.
Okay, but like, I don't think Fokina really should be a 7-game favorite against anyone with his mental lapses and like how much he can just give away points in games. Like, he's gonna win this in straight sets, but I don't think it's gonna be 2 and 3. I think there's gonna be like a 6-4, 7-5 and 6-4 or 7-5 in there, and maybe like, 6-2. But there's going to be one competitive set. Like Fokina, does he ever just kill someone easily, like a 2 and 2?
No, but if we're playing anybody this bad, no, right? Like this is the problem. Like,
does it really matter with Fokina? Like, don't you feel like Fokina is the kind of guy that would play down to the level of the competition to some extent?
maybe he could play great too, right? Like at the U.S. Open, he beat Jerome 4-4-2, and he beat Cerundolo 1-4-3. Right, so like he can show up and play like good match against weak competition. Like I'm not playing it for Fokina either. So like I don't like I can't like I just think this is a complete
Is that
like complete stay
yeah,
away.
you make good points. You make good points. I don't know. All right, he's coming from Vancouver. He's flying. I mean, it's just across the Pacific, so it's not like such a long flight.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Next match is Alex de Minaur against Andy Murray. De Minaur is a 4-game favorite. Minus 285 on the money line. Murray's plus 225. The over-under is 21.5. I think we're going to be aligned here on this match. But I have a very clear play, and that is -4 for de Minaur.
Yeah.
It's not juiced. It's even money.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna back you on this. This year they've played twice, once on clay, once on grass. de Minaur's killed them both times.
Yep.
I'm gonna back you on that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna play that.
And I think it makes sense why, right? Because like if Murray can't hit through de Minaur, what's he gonna do?
Right. Exactly. And what would suggest that he's going to be able to hit through de Minaur?
Nothing. He can't. He can't. Like it's not a matter of like he can try. He can. I mean, like Murray's always scary, especially giving him 4 games because like he will fight and try to hang in the match, but like
Yeah, but de Minaur will fight too.
Yeah.
That's a wash, right?
Like I said, I'm willing to lay the 4. It's just always scary. Like it's always scary. I never like laying like there are guys who I like laying games against.
But this is a match
games.
that I feel pretty comfortable about it because like if he was playing Bublik, I understand. But they both compete just as hard. So that's a wash. So you're when they both compete just
well, but if both guys are competing hard, it's gonna make the score closer, right? So it's not necessarily like a true wash. Because it's always it's gonna gravitate the score closer, right? Like
no, if you because you're then comparing their games and whoever because like if they compete the same at the same competitiveness and level or like the same intensity, then you look at their actual level and whoever plays better is the one
that's there's less like variance in the outcome, right? Like there's like less like it's gonna be harder to have a gap. Like if you had like Krajinovic playing Kecmanovic, right? Like I have no issue laying games in that match because like there's a good chance one of those guys is just gonna like lay down and take it, right? And it's like not a big.
How do you know? But how do you know which one it is?
Well, you could probably like lay like 4.5 games on either guy and get plus money.
Okay, I see what
you're saying. Whereas like in this matchup, because both guys are going to compete, like it's going to be hard. It's going to be harder to have lopsided sets. I'm still with you on the bet. I'm still going to back de Minaur here. I just think I think the matchup outweighs that, but it is a little scary.
Okay, all right. So you don't want to make it a play of the day?
I mean, play of the day. I'm just saying there's a little bit of fear there.
All right, next match is Sasha Zverev against Diego Schwartzman. Zverev is a 5.5 game favorite, minus 800 on the money line. Over under is 19.5. Schwartzman is plus 525 on the money line. Do you have a play here?
I do. I'm going to lay the games. Schwartzman against top. This is my favorite thing, man. You know what's coming. Schwartzman against top 20 this year is 0-8. He's actually 0-9, but he's actually 0-9 because the match against Sinner was a retirement, but Schwartzman just threw in the towel when it was down 6-0, 3-1, so I'm counting that.
Okay.
He won. Here's his 9 matches against the top 10 so far this year. Sorry, top 20, not top 10.
Mm-hmm.
He won 5 games against Rublev in Vienna last October. Won 5 games against Rublev. Won 5 games against Ruud in Indian Wells this year. Won 6 games against Rune in Miami this year. Won 1 game against Sinner in Miami. Came back, tried again against Sinner in Barcelona. That was Monte Carlo where he won a game from Sinner. Tried it again on clay a month later in Barcelona, won 6 games. Won 7 games against Tsitsipas in 3 sets at Roland Garros. Won 4 against de Minaur at Queen's Club. Won 8 in 3 sets again, trying to fight off Sinner. And then he did win a set from Tommy Paul in Canada.
Wow.
That's terrible.
That is terrible. Now,
let me ask
you
can't
this.
compete at this point with what?
Does he typically play better in the first set or the second set?
Either one. I mean, either one, honestly. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Because if he plays equally bad, I'm more inclined to take Zverev minus 2.5 in the first set than I am the 5.5 in the match.
I would rather take the 5.5. You just get he's gonna destroy Schwartzman, man, and you're just giving him 2 sets to get there.
Because you think the chance of a bagel is high, and we don't know if that's going to be in the first or the second, so you'd rather take the 5.5.
Well, or a 6-2 set, right? He's given up a 6-2 set in 8 of the 9 matches. He's given up a 6-2 set or worse.
I agree with you, and I'm going to back you here. I just don't know whether to do the first set minus 2.5 or the full match minus 5.5.
I say, right? So 8 out of the 9 matches have had a 6-2 set or worse, right? For where Schwartzman gotten beaten 6-2 or worse in a set.
Yeah. If
he gets beat 6-2 in a set, the only way he covers 5.5 is if he makes a tiebreak. Right? So I'd way rather
Fair.
I'd way rather not have to play that game of hoping he gets beat. Okay. But it doesn't make a huge difference. I'm not that much more polarized towards one than the other. But yeah, my play here is pretty clear to lay the games.
I actually think,
and honestly, I think this. I think this should be 6.5. Almost wow. This should be an insane number. It's just that books are never gonna diss. They might diss Yi Zhao because he's ranked outside the top 800.
Yeah.
But they're never gonna diss a real tennis player. They're just not gonna do that. We've had this conversation.
This is a fantastic parlay piece if you want to bet Zverev in straights at minus
fantastic parlay piece. I can't believe that it's that cheap to get Zverev in straights. Yeah.
That's a great parlay.
Yeah, this is going to be a beat down. Even take the quantitative out of it. Just qualitatively, how does Schwartzman win points?
Yeah. Under 19.
He can't.
That's pretty much the same.
He can't hit him off the ground. It would just be Zverev bombs a bunch of forehands wide. That's his only chance.
Yeah. All right, next match, Rublev Norrie. I guess we can make that play of the day. You convinced me. I mean, reading those 8 results, I mean that there's no more damning evidence than that, right?
Yeah.
But, all right, Rublev Norrie. Rublev is a 3-game favorite. Minus 210 on the money line. Over under is 22.5. Norrie's plus 170. Don't tell me you're going to lay games again. Are you going to?
I'm close. I'm leaning it. I'm never taking Norrie here.
I agree. I'm just this is a tricky match because I'm not very convinced with Rublev's form either. I saw him play.
You know what I'm going to do here? This is so wimpy. But I think this money line is actually a really good look at minus 210. So I'm gonna play this, and I'll probably do it as a parlay piece. But like if you play this in the Zverev money line, or not the Zverev, if you play this in the Zverev 2-0 line,
Yeah, what is that price?
like is that close to even money
That's
as a parlay? Just those two legs.
fantastic, man. That is plus 112.
Does that not feel fantastic?
Feels amazing.
Like,
feels absolutely amazing.
Which of those legs loses?
Probably the chances that the Rublev line loses is bigger. But that's you want to make a GBM play of the day a parlay?
GBM parlay of the day is going to be parlaying those two. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Because like I actually could see, like, we've talked about this before, Manny. Like Rublev is pretty bad in first sets of tournaments, I feel like.
He is. But
like I actually could see Rublev, like, I could see Rublev blowing the first set and having to come back. But I really don't see him losing the match.
I agree with you. I'm not convinced with Rublev's form. I'm just like even less convinced with Norrie's form. Like Norrie's been so bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's make this a parlay. I agree with you in terms of Rublev. Like, I don't really want to lay games with him. And like, I didn't really like what I saw at Laver Cup with him. I mean, he did make quarters of the US Open, but like, I don't know. I think the under 22.5 is not a bad look there either. If you want to play a single.
See, I don't like that because Rublev, I don't know. Like we've talked about before again, like Rublev, like you're the one who kind of like convinced me onto this. Like Rublev's not great in the beginning of tournaments.
Yeah.
Like I mean, his last five. So here are some of his recent first rounders. He beat Arthur Cazot in straights, but 4-7, 6-4, 7-6, 6-1. Played that horrible match against Rusev when both made like 60 errors.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first rounder. Lost to Mackey. Lost a set, had to beat Zapata Morales in Hamburg in a third set tiebreak. Even Bastad, when he won the tournament, he beat Kotov 3-6. Like, he's not an impressive guy starting tournaments off.
Yeah. Norrie did beat him 2-4 at Indian Wells this year, but that was when Norrie was playing way better. Then Rublev.
It was also a really weird result in retrospect. Like Rublev just played a terrible match.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I guess you have to kind of
Rublev just plays like he honestly like he's a really good player, but in general, he just plays way too many matches way too close. Like he's not really a guy I like laying games or sets on, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I think that's the play there. We agree.
Okay. All right, fair. I think that's a great parlay. Like if you can make those two bets to even money, especially the Zverev leg, like that's amazing. You know, so
yeah, like Schwartzman's never winning a set there. No, like
he's not. All right, next match is I'm gonna place that right now, actually. All right, Dan Evans against Yannick Sinner. So Evans is a 4.5 game dog plus 350 on the money line. Over under is 21.5. Sinner is minus 450. I like plus 4.5 here for Evans. You don't?
I just don't. I don't like betting Evans. Like I don't like backing Evans in the first round of tournaments. Like I just don't. I don't trust the dude to show up. Like motivated. Like there's just
Are there any party spots in Beijing, or do they exile those people? Like, do they just kick them out of the country?
I have no idea. I'm sure they let these players party somewhere. And if not, I think Dan Evans is the kind of guy that would sneak it in anyways.
Probably some General Tso's chicken with some at a club.
Yeah, exactly. Some
Uh,
special chicken. Some special chicken.
yeah, these guys never played. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean, so see, here's the problem, right? So, like, the reason why I can't back Sinner is because I actually agree with you from a tennis perspective, Manny. Like, I like this matchup for Evans.
I do too.
I think the slicing, I think like Evans is like, if you're just gonna bash balls, Evans is a tough guy to put away.
Well, that's why I wanted to see the head to head because like
Yeah.
that's kind of where I would
Quantify that style
quantify
or
that.
back
Yeah,
up with some data
exactly.
that style. Yeah. I just can't back Evans in the first round
I
of
just think
tournaments.
4.5 is a lot. Like that's a lot of games, you know?
I agree.
And Sinner is not like from what I remember, he's not the best starter either in tournaments.
I agree. But like Evans got beat by Musetti 4-3 in Cincinnati.
Yeah, he was still partying from the Washington run.
So who's saying he's not still partying from Davis Cup? Like, right? I mean, legitimately, this is the problem, right? Like I can't have any faith in either of these guys. Like, I don't know. To me, it's just a complete stay away.
For me, I
But
think
I hear why you'd want to back
I think the line
Evans.
should be
It's
three
just
and
a
a
matter
half.
of motivation. What?
I think the line should be 3.5, not 4.5. Like I think 4.5 is just a ton.
Manny, I theoretically agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm not backing Evans in the first round of a tournament. Like,
Probably a smart move, to be honest. All right. Next match here. We got Holger Rune and Felix Auger-Aliassime. I have no play here, man.
I've gone FAA here on the money line.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, look, so Rune's losing to Thiago Montero on a hard court. He's losing to Baena on a hard court in the first round of the US Open. Like, he's just not like,
I see what
I
you're
don't know,
saying,
man. Like,
and I'm not backing Rune in any capacity either. But the thing is that I don't know. I can't back FAA on any line, especially when he's juiced to minus 145. Like, I just can't do it. Like, if this was a pick'em, I get it. Like, I would pick the FAA side of it. Granted that he seems healthy and Rune doesn't, but like, I don't know, I just can't.
I hear you. I've done it. It's a complete like cover your eyes move.
Yeah.
I just like I'll take the healthy guy who has no confidence over the guy who like physically can't move.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Interesting. You're hitting that match. I'm staying away. So
Very rare. Very rare.
that is rare. But I just can't hit that match. No, thank you. Jan-Lennard Struff and Casper Ruud. Ruud is a 2.5 game favorite, minus 175 on the money line, over under 22.5. So Ruud was the one player on Team Europe that did play well at Laver Cup. He did beat Tommy Paul. I don't know. Struff, he did play a couple matches, so I think he's getting back from that injury. I actually don't mind the over 22.5 here. I think that's a decent look. I think that's the best look on the board. What's your play? You probably don't have anything.
This is a stay away from me. Like, you've got one guy who just doesn't like playing on hard courts in general. Like he's got this I mean, I don't think it's going to be a huge problem, but there is a little bit of a travel spot. But like Struff didn't look great coming back either. So I don't really want to have a part of it. I think this line is, I don't really want to be involved in this match. I don't think this line is crazy disrespectful to either guy. Like you could argue maybe it's a half game off or something, but like I don't really want to play
You know what?
this.
I'm
And
gonna
I think the
stay
line
away
is
too. I mean, Klaus Woolgaard has convinced me to not hit first round overs. So I think I'm just gonna take his advice here and just stay away from that one. I agree. Now this one's
Did
interesting.
you realize the main court here is Court Brad? That's kind of
I
exciting
have,
times.
yeah, I have seen that. I was looking at that.
I saw that earlier today, and then I was looking at the schedule again. Yeah, so I got excited there.
Brad. Yeah,
Court
but
Brad.
you're in New Jersey doing a pod with me. You're not playing.
I know, which is quite disappointing times.
All right. Junshen Shang against Yoshi Nishioka. Shang is a slight dog at plus 105, one game dog, and the over-under is 22.5. So I like Shang money line here at plus 105. I think this is a good fatigue spot for Yoshi. He did fatigue big time in that last set against Khachanov. He just completely ran out of gas. So I think motivation might be a slightly lower. I also think like these guys are pretty similar. Like if Yoshi didn't have the travel or the fatigue spot, it's probably minus 150 in his favor or minus 155, but it's not like that much lower considering Shang is also playing at home. So I like this spot at plus 105. Do you agree?
I'm willing to make this a GBM play of the day as well.
Okay.
I am the only other thing I was going to add is that this looks like it's going to be a nightmare, or maybe not. I mean, I want to see what like. I'm hoping this might get night match, and I'm hoping it does because Shang's he's probably China's. He might be their best prospect. It's an interesting theoretical question. Like who is China's who do you think is the best prospect between Shang, Wu Yibing, and Zizhen Zhang?
I would say Yibing Wu, but like he has to get that heart condition in order, right? Like if he continues with that heart condition, you can't say he's going to have the best career. Probably Shang, like just in terms of career upside. I think Zhang also has some like ways to improve. Like, can he improve rally tolerance? Can he improve movement? Can he change his shot selection a little bit? So like it's just not bash the ball or miss, right? Like that's not really a sustainable strategy long term. So I don't know, but I think Shang's tennis IQ is by far the highest of all three of them.
So I like Shang by far the best, and I think like, and this is why we disagree, and this is fun because I get to hammer you because this is one example I absolutely get to hammer you on this. Like, you always say that age is just a number, but
Yep.
Shang looks like a case where it's more than just a number. Like it matters there. Like he's just not like he's not strong enough yet, and most of the matches he loses are because he's not strong enough yet. Like his body just needs time to like fill out. Like he just needs to finish puberty.
But with Chinese people, that doesn't necessarily happen. I can say that because I'm half Asian. I know a lot of Asian people who it just doesn't happen. Right?
Yeah, but if he lifts, like if he's lifting and doing like the appropriate off court training, I don't know. I'll believe in him there. I'll believe.
I don't know.
Believe...
I have to see it before I believe it. Like I understand he's young, but I don't.
Interesting.
I don't know. I never make a judgment based on someone's age. I got to see it like on the court, and I got to see some substantial improvement.
You got to see their body grow. You got to see them.
I do, yeah. With Shang, yes, I got to see that. I don't know. Maybe that's puberty for him. Like I don't know. I don't know his family tree, right? Like,
yeah.
So, all right, but we'll make this play of the day. I think I like the spot.
My point where I was going with it is like the cooler it is, the more I like it for Shang because he seems to have issues dealing with heat also. That's the one concern. It's not supposed to be hot there, but even if there's sun, I get a little concerned about Shang just because he seems to be really, really bad. He seems to have really, really big issues dealing with his physicality is a problem for him at this point. We don't talk about it very much because we like him as a kid, but like he does have physicality issues.
He does. But I mean, this is a spot to fade Yoshi in, right? Like, no doubt.
Yeah, it is. And it's more of a Yoshi fade than is a backing Sheng. But I also like backing Sheng, man. This is a big tournament for him. He's at home.
Yeah,
Like
it's a good opportunity.
I think it's for me, it's both. It's like a little bit of wanting to back Shang and then wanting to fade Yoshi at the same time.
Yeah. All right. Next match is Karen Khachanov against Lorenzo Musetti. Khachanov is a 1.5 game favorite, minus 145 on the money line. Over under is 22.5. Musetti's plus 120. So this is an instance where I'm gonna back Khachanov here. Like, I don't think this is a fade spot for Khachanov. I think he's just kind of getting warmed up in a way. And like,
I agree. I think if anything, that winning that title should give him a little more faith in himself to feel like he's recovering and like
exactly.
and getting better. And then it's also like I'm like, and it's funny because I won the match, but like, no, I won the bet. But do you remember we had about a couple months ago where we had a face off on Musetti Kokkinakis?
Did we?
Where you backed Kokkinakis and I backed Musetti
in a match or like
in a match? Yeah, it was a match where Musetti played Kokkinakis.
Okay.
You backed Kokkinakis, I backed Musetti. I think Musetti won in 3.
I don't remember that. Which tournament was that?
I'll look it up. It's definitely happened. And I definitely remember us being, because we're never on true opposite sides.
Yeah.
So like anytime we are, I remember it.
It was in Toronto.
Yeah. Yep.
In the first set.
So ever since then, like, that match convinced me, like, man, Musetti is not good on fast courts or even like medium pace. Honestly, any hard court. Like, yeah, he's just like if the court is medium to faster paced, like, he's just not good. So
I think
I'll fade Musetti here, which means I'll back Khachanov. And like, I even agree with you on the back Khachanov play, but I think both are in play here. Like, I really like. The question is, do I want to bother like laying the game and a half or not for 25 cents? Like, you're not getting much for 25 cents for that game and a half, but it's also a game and a half. It's not that meaningful. So that's my debate.
How about 2-0 at plus 170?
170.
Did he lost a set to McDonald? You don't like plus?
Plus, it's always it's in like first round of a tournament, right? Like, I don't know, I feel like it's always dangerous to back these kinds of these kind of long odds 2-0s in first rounds.
Yeah. I'm gonna lay the 1.5 game.
I'll back you on that. I don't
want to. It's 145. It's too much juice. But yeah, I'm definitely on the Khachanov side here. So
I agree with you.
Yeah. All right. Next match is Mackie McDonald against Grigor Dimitrov. Mackie's 3.5 game dog. Plus 180 on the money line. Dimitrov's minus 220. Over under 22 games. This is a really tough match to get a read on. Like, I don't like betting either of these guys, to be honest. They played a couple times. Dimitrov got him in DC. Mackie got him in Miami last year, and Dimitrov got him 8-6 in the 5th in 2018 at the Australian Open. I remember the Washington match. Tight first set, and then Dimitrov ran away with it. I'm going to stay away. I think this is accurate.
I agree. I think like you could maybe make a case that it should be like a half game different, 3 or 4. But with these guys, I don't really want to these aren't guys that I want to bet. Like, if this was like 2.5, I would probably lay games. If it was like 4.5, I'd probably I'd probably back Mackey, but like I don't really want to quibble over like the line being a half game off in this
Agreed.
matchup.
Agreed. Now, this is my favorite bet of the day, or the first round. Yari against Tsitsipas. Yari's a 3-game dog, plus 185 on the money line, over under 24. So you know what I'm going to say, right? You can put words in my mouth.
You're gonna back Yari in some capacity.
Yeah. Money line, baby, plus 185.
I'm gonna back you on that. Like, and it's a pure Tsitsipas fade. And, like, there's just nothing else to be said except like I just don't like.
Nothing else to be
I
said.
don't know, man. Like, yeah.
Honestly, if this line was minus 110 on each side, I would still back Yari. I mean, like, what has Tsitsipas done to prove like
I really don't. I truly don't understand why Yari's why Tsitsipas is a 3-game favorite here.
I mean, if you want to be safe, like I think a really, really good parlay piece is just to take the +3. Like,
Yeah,
single bet,
yeah.
get the plus 185, but like in a parlay,
because like you could push that. You don't really want to. You don't want to push things, but pushing isn't terrible. But
yeah,
like you could even get broken once and push that.
I know.
But like, I mean, like, how does Tsitsipas find a break?
I have no idea. And this court plays a little bit faster than when they played in Los Cabos, right? Like Los Cabos,
Yeah. It's
really
really fast
slow.
in Los Cabos for sure.
And
Los
he had
Cabos
trouble breaking there. He had trouble breaking there.
Yeah.
So, like over 24 is a good look here too. I mean, like there's so many good looks.
I just for any first round. So Klaus has convinced me this like over 24s in the like my first look at this match was I was like, please book me at 22.5 so I can take over. Please book me at 22.5 so I can take over.
Yeah.
No, 24. Like,
yeah,
they're not giving
smart, but I think the money line is just way too much in Tsitsipas's favor. Like, I mean,
yeah, I actually do think so. I'm gonna disagree. I think Tsitsipas should be favored here, but nowhere near this. Like,
do you think what it should be like minus 140?
Yeah, minus 150, something like that. I could see.
I mean, this is a bad
like maybe a minus 150 plus 120.
We've said it before many times. Tsitsipas is a matchup dependent guy, and playing a big server, on a relatively quicker court, right? Like that's the worst kind of matchup for him, right? Like
I don't know, like against Yari on a hard court, I think the opposite plays true too, right? Like we're like so we just said like, oh my god, how does Tsitsipas find any breaks? But like, how does Yari find any breaks?
Fair,
right? Like I think it's going to be a close match. Like I don't hate the over 24 either. I actually think that could come in too, but like I'd rather just play the plus 185 money line here. It's my favorite, but like I do think that like, we agree. Like this is closer than this line indicates.
Yeah. Also, there are rumors that Tsitsipas broke up with Badosa. I don't know if you heard that.
Well, they killed their Instagram.
I know. Yeah, exactly. So I think
Tsitsidosa Instagram is dead. He could be down after. He might be.
He could be down mentally.
He might even show up to the match.
I mean,
he might pull a calf muscle.
But that's another reason to back Yari, right? Like if he's struggling mentally from any personal life thing, like that's a huge variable, right? Like,
yeah.
All right. Next match is Tommy Paul against Medvedev. Paul is a 4-game dog plus 300 on the money line. Over under is 21.5. Curious to see if you have a play here because like I'm having trouble getting a read on this match. You probably don't, right? Like
I'm staying away here. I am tempted to play Paul plus the 4 games, but I'm barely staying off it. Like if this gets to 4.5 or 4 at even money, I might do it, but I don't know, man. Like
they played once at the French in 2 years ago, so that doesn't really say much. I want to play this match badly because like I think this is going to be a fantastic match to watch. But I just don't have a good read on it. Like I don't know Medvedev's motivation here, right? Like he should be, but who knows?
I don't feel like motivation. Like, have we ever seen Medvedev look unmotivated or like throwing a dud? Like he sometimes whines and like acts like he doesn't want to be there, but he still like competes. Like we saw
I
that in
can
Indian Wells. Like
I
he's
consider
like,
the Demonor Toronto match a dud.
but he still competed. Like he's not gonna just give away the match like some guys will. You know what I mean? Like he's not gonna pull a Foki or Zverev or
Right.
Dimitrov.
I'm not convinced with Paul's form either. Like I don't really want to back him either here, you know?
Well, so I was on Paul until I remembered his form, and I was like, ew. But like, tell me Paul does have talent, and like laying 4 on a guy who hasn't played since the U.S. Open.
Oh, Laver
Someone
Cup.
stay
Laver
away.
Cup.
Medvedev played Laver Cup.
No. Oh, Medvedev hasn't played since US Open. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Medvedev, yeah. I'm
Right.
saying I don't want to take Paul because of the form, and I want to take Medvedev because of the layoff.
Right.
I'm kind of stuck.
Yeah. All right. Stay away there. And then the last match is Ugo Humbert against Lorenzo Sonego. Ugo is a 1.5 game favorite, -140 in the money line. Over under is 23. Sonego is +115. I'm on Ugo here.
I'm all over Ugo. Now the head-to-head is in favor of Sonego.
Yeah.
But it's been tight. Trying to look up the head-to-head.
Two one.
Yeah, but the 2 are this year. But they're both close matches on clay, where I would think Sonego would be better.
Well, yeah, Sonego did win those 2 matches on clay.
And I think like Ugo,
Yeah.
I think is worse on clay.
Although he had a good clay court season this year, winning those challengers.
Winning challengers. I mean, they were good challengers. They were strong challenger fields, but they're still challengers.
Yeah.
I know Humbert's been a lot better lately. Like Humbert's been pretty decent the past couple months on this hard court swing. Sonego really hasn't. I'm on Humbert for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't like laying games.
I think Ham's fine. I don't really want to mess around
Yeah.
with playing games with Ugo Humbert, even a game and a half. Like
It was -130 when I saw it earlier. So I'm a little bit pissed. Yeah. But yeah, I would agree with that. So we can make that a play of the day too.
cool.
So we got the Zverev Zverev straight sets and a Rublev money line parlay, right? As a play of the day.
Yep.
We got the Demonor -4 at even money as play of the day. We got Shang money line against Yoshi at play of the day. We got Khachanov -1.5 as a play of the day. And we got Yari money line as play of the day. And we got the Ugo Humbert money line as play of the day. So we got 5 or 6. Like, but I'm pretty confident in all of those. Like, I really like them.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to Borat.
The tournament that can't keep its name, that doesn't know what it wants to call itself. But honestly, I missed this because like last year, different books had this name differently. Like last year, half the books had this name Astana, and half had it named like Neural Sultan. Now they all know it's Astana, so I'm kind of disappointed. Like I really enjoyed feeling like there were extra 2. Like I enjoyed feeling like there were multiple 250s at the same city at the same time. Like that would have been really cool.
That's funny. All right,
same draw.
So Talon Grigspor is the #1 seed. That shows the difference in quality between the 2 events.
Yeah.
He has a bye. He'll play the winner of RCB and a qualifier. Then you got Kukushkin and Borges. Then you got Popperin and Korda. So that's the first quarter.
So can we stop there? Because like if we need to know how Sebastian Korda feels about himself right now, we just had a segment on Korda at the beginning. And if you don't have how he feels about himself right now, like I think this tells you all you need to know. Like the fact that he decided to go to Astana over like Beijing, like
when he was already in China.
when he was, oh yeah, he decided to leave China
Right.
to go to this weaker tournament, to go to a 250. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it just shows that he needs matches, right? Like he wants to go far. But
Yeah.
that
Well, he
first
wants
round,
matches. Like, I get it. Like, he wants matches, he wants points. I'm not saying it's even the wrong move. I'm just
yeah,
saying it shows you he doesn't believe in himself. Like, he really believed in himself. He played Beijing.
right. Agreed. And I don't think it's a gimme that he beats Popperin. Like I kind of want to back Popperin there, to be honest.
Yeah.
So next quarter you got Yuri Lehechka as the 4 seed. He has a bye. He'll play the winner.
Well, I guess any thoughts besides that on this quarter?
On the first
Annie?
quarter. Man, I got to see prices, but I'm probably gonna back. Like if I can get 10-1 on Popperin, which I probably want, I'll probably get like 7 or 8-1. That's even not a bad price.
For the quarter?
Yeah. Because like
I mean, that would be an amazing price.
If he gets past Korda, like he should beat Kukushkin or Borges. Like I think he's I mean that match against Greek score was going to be tough, but the thing is Korda's the favorite to win the event, right? So like Greek score is not going to be the favorite to win the quarter. Right? Greek sport or Popperin, they're not going to be the favorites. So I want to back either of those two guys in some capacity to win the quarter.
Either Popperin or who? Korda?
Greek sport.
Or Greek sport.
Because if Korda's the favorite to win the event, he's going to be the favorite to win the quarter.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know. I got to see the prices, but like I'm tempted to back those two guys. Next quarter, what do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I have two plays on the outright market, and I'll tell them after we go through the draw.
Okay, all right. Next quarter is Yuri Lehechka. We'll play the winner of a qualifier in Bernabe. Shevchenko against Bodik van de Zandschulp, and Hamad Medvedev against Laszlo Jiri.
Really weak quarter. Really weak quarter. I mean, you can throw out really as being realistic guys who could win the quarter. You could throw out Medvedev, VDZ, Shevchenko, and Zapata. And the qualifier. The qualifiers aren't strong here either. So you're left with
Yuri and Jiri.
It's Yuri and Jere. And like neither guy's been particular. I would disagree. I know that Sean Calvert said that Lehechka's form has been good. I would disagree with that.
So these two guys, they played in Davis Cup, and Lechka won, I think, a tight 3-setter or a tight 2-setter.
It was 6 and 5. It was a tight 2-setter.
Okay.
Lechka was good at Davis Cup. I'll give him that. But like, I'm not impressed with losing 3-3 to Karatsev first round of U.S. Open. I'm not even impressed with Winston-Salem. He beat Mitchell Kruger, Dominique Kepfer, and a Max Purcell who wasn't playing too good.
Yeah. Yeah, and then lost a dud match in the final, right, to Baez. Well, Baez did play well. Give you that. But all right, sorry again for the technical glitch. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I think it's you, Manny, tonight. I feel like my internet's been fine. I think it's your hotel Wi-Fi.
Could be.
Yeah.
All right.
We were on the third quarter, right?
We were on
the second quarter. Oh, I was talking Jerry on hard courts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Darius wins on hard courts in 2023. He's got a bunch of them, but the list of names is Munar, Ruud in Auckland in a really weird match, Zizou Bergs, Victor Jurasovich in Davis Cup, Vukic, Fernando Diaz Acosta, Michelson, Nakashima, Gaston, Sunwoo Kwon, and Albert Ramos. Like, there's just really not a whole lot there to convince me. Like, I know he's playing better as general as a tennis player, but I don't really have any faith in anything here. Like, I probably would. I might even end up backing Jerry, but man, it's tough. Like, it's
I'm
just a
backing
messy
Jerry.
quarter.
I'm backing Jerry. I mean, I have him. I kind of like him in the outright market, to be honest, because I think the half is pretty weak.
Okay.
So I might just back him on the outright because, like, I actually think he can beat guys on the bottom half too.
Well, the whole event is weak, right? Like,
Yeah,
I like you said the top half is weak, but the bottom half's not strong either.
it's not.
Like, you get to this third quarter, you got
I'd stay away,
any
but
other thoughts on the second
I
quarter?
think Jiri. I got to see prices, but like if Jiri is like plus 300 to win the quarter, I'll probably hit him.
He won't be. I think he's like 8-1 to win the event.
So he'll be what, like
Maybe 2-1 to win the quarter at best. Probably more like he could be close to even money.
It's not good enough. It better not be even money because, like, I think that match against Lechka is going to be a pick'em, right?
Dare I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably stay away, but third quarter, we got Stan Wawrinka against Marcos Giron, Juan Pablo Varillas against Dominic Thiem, Marton Fucsovics against Sebastian Offner, and Bublik is the 3 seed.
Oh my Bublik doesn't want to be here, right? Like, so one thing that's important to keep in mind, like, this is Bublik's home tournament, but it's not. Like, Bublik, he's a Russian, right? He like, I think like Kazakhstan like bought his citizenship. Like, he plays under the Kazakhstan flag, but he's not actually Kazakhstan.
Yeah, but he does play Davis Cup, right? Like, and he tries hard there. So maybe he does want to be here. That being said,
he didn't do last year, I don't think.
Yeah, but does doing well correlate with wanting to be there?
For Bublik, yes. Right? I mean, honestly, when Bublik wants to be there, he's a great player. Like, I don't think we ever debate this, right? Like,
I'm just staying away from Bublik. I actually think that this is a tournament he's going to be motivated in. But that being said, like, I don't want to back him. You know, I think both can be true, right? He can be motivated, but you still don't want to back him.
Well, but he might not be, and he can be motivated for the first round and not the second round. That's the other problem, right? Like, it doesn't take much to get him unmotivated. Like,
true, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, then the last quarter is Adrian Mannarino against Arthur Rinderknecht, qualifier against Corentin Moutet, Barrere and a qualifier, and then Baez has a bye. So
it's also worth noting, I don't think we talked much about this. This is an indoor, this is Astana tournament. It's an indoor hard court, but it plays slower. It's not quite Rotterdam, but it plays similar in that it's like a slower surface.
okay.
There's a little altitude, but I don't think it really matters too much because it's indoors. It kind of offsets that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like, I would say it's like a slightly slow to neutral hard court in the end, because like the fact that it's indoors makes it play a little bit like it's a little easier to serve, right? Indoors, obviously, because there's no wind.
Yeah.
And there's no sun to deal with, but like it's a slower hard court.
Okay.
So it's another reason why not to love Bublik. Because, like, you know, obviously Bublik prefers faster surfaces. Like, even just from a motivation perspective, right? Like if he can't hit winners early in the rally, he's just not going to be having fun out there.
Yeah, but if he's motivated, he should win that quarter. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe.
I mean, he should at least make the quarters.
Yeah,
he should be. He should be Fucsovics or Offner.
Right. Yeah. So as far as the futures go,
well, we didn't go through the fourth quarter yet, right? Manny? Yeah, we missed the.
Yeah, I mean, I read off the names, but so that
you got Mannarino versus Rinderknecht, a qualifier versus Moutet, qualifier versus Barrere and Baez.
So that's my play of the tournament. like my favorite futures bet here, is the fourth quarter to win the event at plus 350. Because I think in this draw, there are 4 guys who I actually think the 4 guys that that have the best shot of winning this event are Griekspoor, Giri, Monterino, and Baez.
You like Monterino even on a slow court?
It's indoor, and like he's had a lot of success in 250s. So I get it. It's a little bit slower, but like I think he's playing better tennis than most of this draw. And I like what I saw from Baez at Winston-Salem. So I think he's turning a corner on hard. And I like backing him in 250s. So the fact that there are 2 guys in my top 4 or 5 that could win this event makes me want to hit that. I agree that the rest of the quarter is weak, but the fact that I'm getting plus 350 there, I really like that.
I can't back that.
Okay.
Yeah. I need to see more from Baez. I get it. Like he was pretty impressive on hard. Like the Winston-Salem run was pretty impressive. And like the US Open performance wasn't bad. So like I get it, but I still have a hard time backing him. He just hasn't done enough for me to get to buy in yet. Especially on an indoor hard where I think his lack of serve is going to be a real like detriment because again, like there's no conditions, right? So the big servers will get that advantage.
Okay. But like, I can't back Wawrinka, for example. Like I like what he's doing, but like I can't back him to win a tournament. I want to stay far away from him on the futures market.
Oh, I'm on. That's one of my plays is Wawrinka.
Really?
Yeah.
So we disagree here.
Yeah, because like so it's more than I'm looking at this draw. So I don't think Bublik's going to have any. There's no reason to think Bublik will be motivated. Like honestly, Bublik is unmotivated more often than he's motivated. And I don't see any reason why he'd be motivated. Like it's not a home tournament for him. He didn't do well last year. He doesn't need this. He doesn't need like what is the reason for him to be here?
I mean, the only one you can ask is him.
That's true, right? That is true. Like,
I don't know. If I was playing this tournament, I would want to win it. I mean, like, yeah, but I'm not Bublik.
But like why? You know, I don't know. So,
but we asked that,
and then like
any tournament. Like, why would he want to play any tournament? We asked that about in slams with him, right? Like,
no, but okay, but but there's some general things we can say, right? Like on the grass, when his serve plays up and the rallies are shorter, he looks like he wants to play a little bit more, right? On the clay, he has no interest. So like court speed matters a little bit, right? Like, in terms of his motivation level.
He clearly
like
appears just for the paycheck, right? Like the appearance fees.
Right. And like I'm sure he's getting a paycheck for this event because again, he plays under the flag. So like I'm sure people will show up because they'll just see a blue flag and be excited. Like
I have a feeling he got his Halle title and he knows that he's safe to be in the top 50 for the next year, right? So like he knows
he's done. Yeah, he got his scalp and he's done. Like, yeah.
So yeah.
And he had his run at Wimbledon too, remember? So he got a bunch of points from that. Like
right.
And like Bublik, like he's never going to take it seriously enough to like make the top 20. So like as long as he's in the top 50, who cares? Just keep cashing those paychecks. Like
right. Exactly. So Wawrinka, what price did you get on him in the event?
On Wawa?
Yeah.
10 to 1. Because so here's what I look at this, right? So if we assume that he doesn't want to be there, that Bublik doesn't want to be there, Wawrinka should beat your own.
Yes. He should
He's
be
not going to lose to Varias or team on a hard court.
probably not.
He shouldn't lose to Fucsovics or Offner. He could lose to Fucsovics, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
So then you're in the semis, and like, I don't know, man. Nobody else in that bottom quarter is like scary. Like, I'm not scared of playing Baez on an indoor court where I know I have the way better serve from Wawrinka. Manarino doesn't really scare me on a slow court. Rinderneck, like the serve is annoying, but like
does, because it's like he has a very funky ball. I don't know. I like what Manarino and Baez have done in 250s this year, and like even though maybe the conditions don't like favor them,
I just think like this is the worst. This is almost the worst. This is almost the worst. Like, I guess it would be worse if Manarino was on clay, but I just don't like. I don't think I think the indoor thing is like Wawrinka has the best serve in this bottom half. Maybe not better than Bublik, and maybe not better than Rinderneck. Definitely not better than Bublik, and maybe not better than Rinderneck. But like, he's got a better serve than anybody else here, and like,
doesn't something worry about you with Wawrinka, like in terms of being 37 and like backing him in the future?
He made it through Umag.
Okay.
I mean, what's the difference, right? They're both 250s where it took 5 matches.
That was a tough run. I don't think that's easily replicated. Plus, I think clay is slightly better for him than hard. I like, honestly, if I was going to play Wawrinka, I would want to play with the rollover, to be honest.
My fear with rollover is like you just end up like I don't think your rollover gets to like this draw could fall apart. Like Wawrinka's a good player. Like he's playing. I mean, like he's played well this season. Like this draw could fall apart.
But what if Bublik is motivated?
Well, then I mean, if you're rolling over your money, you're going to lose if you lose one match, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah, but you can always back out. Like if you do a rollover, right? You don't have to go through with it, right? Like you can just
I guess. Yeah, you could plan a rollover and then back out on the if he plays Bublik. Yeah, it's not a terrible like I don't know, man, but like am I even scared of Bublik in the quarters? Like does winning one match really show me that Bublik like
I think if Bublik is motivated and he wants to be there, and I think there's a chance he does because it's Kazakhstan.
Well, there's probably a chance he does, right? Like I just don't think it's more than 50%.
But I don't know. I don't know. My only play here is that plus 350 for the fourth quarter to win, because I think that there are two guys there that I like. I understand the conditions. I don't know. I trust them more than most of these guys.
I get it. Like they're both more like, and they're your kind of players. Like I feel like you like these guys who like you can trust to at least go in and give it like an honest day's work.
Right. Yep.
And like with those two guys, like you can definitely trust that.
Yep.
And they're not going to go out and like beyond even like effort level, like they're not going to go out and make like 50 unforced errors, right? Like Grispor can play some terrible tennis.
Right. Popperin can play some terrible tennis. Korda, I can't trust.
Popperin worse. Popperin actually be worse than Grispor. Like, right. Yeah, like
Lechka can make
so
unforced errors, right? Jiri probably wouldn't, but like I've seen him not want to be at an event like in Winston-Salem, right? He just wanted to head to New York.
Yeah.
Right, because he was tired of waiting for that rain delay. So, like, I don't know. I just, I
get it. Like, I get the appeal. I just, in these conditions, I can't get behind.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. Like Manarino has Manarino done anything on a slow court this year that like indicates that he's going to be successful here? But I get your points. Like it's a weak draw, so like again, it could like maybe it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a really, really weak quarter. Like it's probably going to be Manarino Baez in the quarterfinals, right? And then
I actually don't know, man. Like, I get it's a slightly slow court, and I know it's hold your nose, but like, Rinderknecht is kind of scary.
he's scary.
Like
He's
with that
the
serve
scariest guy.
indoors. What?
He's definitely the scariest guy for sure. But like, if Monterino gets past that, who else beats either of those guys? Like, that's the only danger guy, right?
Yeah, probably. Probably. I wanted to play around with Mutet, but or not Mutet, Barrere, but I the prices weren't great.
Barrera's just another guy. Isn't that your line?
He's the Jaguar. He's the Jaguar. He's kind of partially because his name kind of sounds like Jaguar. Like you maybe call him Jaguar, and then it sounds like Jaguar. Yeah, but he's a Jaguar. He's just another guy.
Funny. All right, so let's go over these matches. So we got Medvedev against Laszlo Zhuri in an hour and a half from now. So Medjed or Hamad, whatever you want to call it, is a 3.5 game dog plus 200 on the money line. Over under is 22.5. I have a very clear play here.
Well, I saw your X write up. You're backing Jerry hard here.
Yes. Are you going to disagree?
I'm staying away here. This is a stay away for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I get the appeal. I hear the appeal.
Huge movement gap. Huge.
Yeah, I agree. But 3.5 games is enough to. It's enough to keep me off.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Now, this one is a very interesting match. Shevchenko against VDZ. VDZ is a 3.5 game favorite. Shevchenko is plus 175 on the money line. VDZ is minus 215. Over under is 21.5. So my bet here, I hate doing this. I hate backing VDZ right now, but I'm backing VDZ minus 3.5 games. And the reason is Shevchenko just got engaged two days ago. So how motivated is
he? I don't want any part of this.
What?
Like, I don't want any part of this. Like, Shevchenko got engaged 2 days ago. Bodic is talking about how he needs to get his form back for Davis Cup. Like,
well, this is where to start. Against the guy that just got engaged, whose head is not on tennis right now. It's on love. I think this is a good place to start for VDZ if he wants to get ready for Davis Cup. Plus, he's been showing signs like he did beat Tommy Paul at Davis Cup on a pretty similar kind of court.
Yeah. I don't think you can make any argument for this other than the Shevchenko just getting engaged. Like, that's the only argument. Like, otherwise, I would be playing Shevchenko.
Yeah.
So
I
think I have a hard time. And this might be a genius play by you. So I'm saying away, but but I'm admitting it might be a genius play by you. And I appreciate the tip because it pulled me off of this.
Okay.
Because I was going to hit the Shevchenko money line, but now I'm completely off it. Like, my issue is threefold here, right? Like, I think this is actually a pretty close match if both guys are there.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it really hard to take the under. So that was my first thought, is take the under.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah. My second thought was to take the plus money. But with Shevchenko just getting engaged, I don't really want to back Shevchenko.
No.
And then my third thought was back Bodic minus the games. But man, like, I would never do that. Like I would be backing Shevchenko if it wasn't for the engagement news. So I don't want to do that either.
Shevchenko fade. A pure Shevchenko fade. That's what
I get. It might be a genius play, Manny. Like, it very well might be a genius play, and I will definitely kudos you if it does. But I can't get on board with But you did pull me off of the plus 175 Shevchenko money line. Okay. So I appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Next match is another one of my favorite plays: Kukushkin against Borges.
I think we're on both sides because I saw your play here too. You know, Borges has been absolutely horrendous lately.
Horrendous. Now this is
But I'm gonna lay games.
no, you're gonna lay games with Borges?
Yeah. It's
Really?
a complete, I don't want to watch. I don't want anything to do with this. But
What's your reasoning?
yeah, and I would never lay 3.5 here, but I'll like 2.5 is my like honestly, like this is literally the minimum or the absolute like I think it's basically a zero EV play here for me to lay the games on board. Just like it's not even like if this flips where it's like minus if I have to juice it up to -120 to lay the 2.5, I'm staying away. But Kukushkin is not good. Like I don't even know if he's played a top 100 guy this year. Like he's just been floating challengers.
Okay. Yeah, but floating challengers and losing 8 out of 10 matches, I would rather take a guy that's winning some challenger matches, to be honest. He went to 3 sets with Skatov. I mean, that was on clay. Beat Mattia Bellucci on US Open qualies.
Yeah, but Bellucci's more of a clay guy. Like that's not great.
Okay. Lost to Enzo.
Losing to Quackod is okay. Quackod usually shows up for
five and six against Gojo. I mean, like he lost.
Is not great. Gojo goes 5-6 with everybody. He would go 5-6 with me. Like he does. He can't return anybody's serve. Like that's not that impressive. Like
he took Shang to a tiebreak.
that's pretty good. And playing a competitive match with Stevie Johnson's okay, but like I don't know, man. Like
he broke Mapechi Pericard a couple times.
that's impressive. He also got broken by Pericard. I don't know how that happened, but like,
I didn't mention that part.
And he almost lost to Christian Harrison.
Yeah, that's not good.
Like,
I mean, it's not good, but this is a fade on Borges, and like Kukushkin is going to be fully motivated here, right? Like this is his US Open final playing in this event.
you mean
right?
just he got a wild card and he gets to play an ATP level event? Because he's not Kazakhstan either. He's another Russian who Kazakhstan paid for his citizenship.
Yeah, but I think he's I don't know. I want to take plus money here, and like I'd rather take the Kukushkin side and have the plus 130 in my pocket than like sweat it out lane games. Like also Kukushkin has a crafty game, right? Like Borges.
Does he still? Like I haven't watched any Kukushkin. Like Kukushkin used to be good. Like there was a time when Kukushkin was good, but like I don't know what he has left in the tank. It's like looking at the results, it's not much.
But what does Borges have left in the tank? He's been terrible after the March run in Phoenix.
Well, I mean, okay, so kind of, but like I don't know, like he's winning sets off of like ATP level guys or like borderline ATP level guys. Like, I mean, I'm not saying he's been good. Like, I let this off with he's been quite bad, and to cover your eyes. But like, is this worse than Kukushkin?
Probably not, but I don't know.
Honestly, we probably should both be staying away.
Probably
like,
should.
Why we argue this? Like, it's just like both of us are just like your guy sucks worse. Your guy sucks worse. Like, we can't even make any pro arguments for either guy. Like, it's just like how bad is the other guy going to be? This is awful. Like, how does this end up as an ATP Tour first round match? Like,
one of these guys are going to be in the second round. It sucks, but
like, can he honestly, like these guys are probably losing most of the guys in the Orleans Challenger.
The Orleans Challenger is better than this. Yeah, exactly.
What?
The Orleans Challenger is better than this. Yeah. Like that Van Ash Molchan match, like they would wipe the floor with either of those guys.
Yeah.
All right, next match is Monorino against Rinderknecht. So Monterino is a 2.5 game favorite against Arthur. Over under 22.5. I'm gonna play Monterino minus 2.5 games here. I'm a big Monterino fan.
Another both sides. I'm gonna back Rinderneck here.
Really? Plus 145? So the reason why I don't like
I
Rinderneck
don't-
here is because he's going from China to Kazakhstan. Like, I don't like the travel spot. It's a
Yeah, but
cheap,
that travel's not that bad.
it's
If
not
that's
that
a
bad,
short
but
flight.
I guess, but it's like it's also a change in conditions. He's going from like a fast outdoor hard court to a slower indoor court. So I don't necessarily like.
Yeah.
I also don't think Monterino is a good matchup for Rinderneck. That crafty low ball, like Rinderneck doesn't like to bend. He's like a stork. The guy, he's like 6'7". Monterino is gonna like take balls early and make him like bend low for backhands in the corner. Like that's not good for Arthur.
I hear you. I like the Rinderneck serve on an indoor court. I like the fact that this is a slower court. It should be a little bounce. I think it should be a little bouncy. I'm not sure about that, but like I would guess if it's a slower indoor hard, it's probably a little bit bouncier, so the ball should get up a little bit more for Rinderneck.
They played once before last year in Canada, and it was 3-3 for Monterino.
But I would like that. That's fine. Like again, that's an outdoor. That's a slightly faster outdoor hard, right? Like this is to me. This is about like the biggest thing honestly is that this is indoors, which helps the Rinderneck serve. And like I'm never doing this at even at like gun to my head, pick the winner. Yeah, I'm picking Manarino. It's just a matter of like I think there's some value here in taking the dog here and taking the plus money with Rinderneck.
I'd need like plus 160 at the minimum. 145 is not good enough. But okay, we can agree to disagree.
Yeah. Interesting. We got a lot of picks though. Like I have a surprising number of picks on this match, which kind of scares me. It means it could be a bad day. We'll see.
We'll see. Next match is Popperin against Korda. So Poppy is a 3.5 game dog plus 240 on the money line. Over under is 22.5. Korda is minus 300 on the money line. So I love backing Popperin here. I think 3.5 taking the 3.5 games is a good parlay piece. And as a single bet, I'm going to take the plus 240.
Yeah, I've stayed off the money line. I've gone with the plus 3.5, but I mean, it's all what Poppy line do you like the best. I'm on the fade quarter train, and like with Poppy on an indoor court, I like the big serve. So that's why I'm taking the 3.5. Like, I could also like I don't love the over because I don't actually. Amazing, I don't really trust Korda to show up here. Like, if anything, I can see Poppy running away with this.
So I've noticed a lot of unders hitting recently. That's kind of my takeaway from last week. I've been getting burned on the over unders.
Okay, interesting.
Recently, I don't know. I feel like I've been more successful picking sides, so I might stay away. Like I got burned today with Purcell and Wolf on the over 22.5. Like
yeah.
So I mean,
it also might be a function of this. Like these next few weeks might not be good over weeks. Like just because you're on the Asian swing.
Right. So.
But yeah, I'm on Poppy here. Plus the we agree here in some way, shape, or form. It just depends what your favorite bet is.
I'm gonna. You know what? Let's make 3.5 the play of the day, and then I'll take 240. I'll do half a unit on 240. So.
Cool.
All right. Next match, Varias against Team. Team is a 4-game favorite, plus 225 on the money line for Varias on the for the player to win the match, and the over under is 22. You have a play here?
These are sad times, man. Like, there's QAnon, Biden, inflation. I know a lot of bad stuff going on in the world, and one of the really bad things is that I'm actually thinking about taking Juan Pablo Varillas on a hard court money line against Dominic Thiem. It's so sad. Like I get various like these world events make me sad, and this money line makes me sad too. But I'm backing Varillas. Like it's so sad though. Like I think Varillas is like I don't know. Like it's so weird to say this in this context, but like he like lost 4-3 to Dimitrov. He kind of broke I think a couple times. Like it looked like he's looked like he beat up on that Jay Sweet guy who we both bet on the money line. Like I don't know. He's looked like like he hasn't looked good, but he's looked like he beat Mio Kecmanovic at the US Open, right? Like that's more of a sad note for Mio, but like I don't know, man. Varillas looks like he's like at least trying to do something on the hard courts. You know what I mean? At least he's realized that like he's like now they made that French Open run. Like if he wants to actually be a real ATP Tour player, he's going to have to learn to move off the clay. And he's looking like a little more competent, whereas Thiem doesn't look competent at all off the clay. So
he doesn't. And like,
I'm going to go for Varillas here. I don't really want to take games or sets because like it could go completely sideways, which is why I'm on the money line.
Oh, that's what I took. I took plus the 4 games because I think he wins a set and just seals that. Like I can see Varillas win a set 6-2 and then like I could see so many different kind of results here. I could see a 6-2 set. I could see a 7-6 set. So that's why I want to take the 4 games because like Varillas wins a set and you kind of seal it.
Okay.
So, but I might sprinkle on the money line too. But yeah, I'm on the Varillas side.
I think the first set's an interesting play here too.
That's an interesting look.
At 185 or 180. I might split my unit and go half a unit on the money line and half a unit on the first set.
I want to talk to MP9 on that because he loves those set 1 money lines. I want to see if he's on that.
Yeah.
Because he usually has a pretty good read on the set 1s. So, all right, 2 more matches. Marton Fucsovics against Sebastian Ofner. Fucsovics is a 3-game favorite. Over under is 22.5. Ofner is plus 155 on the money line. To me, this is complete stay away.
I agree.
I have no interest. Fucsovics,
Fucsovics is just such a mess, and Ofner's like, no, I'm not convinced an Ofner on hard court.
Yeah, and Ofner chokes sometimes, like that crazy choke in Kitchpool, remember? And then like Fucsovics can a great match or lose love and 1 like he did against Rinky.
Yeah.
So like no.
Yeah, for real.
Wawrinka against Giron. Wawrinka is a 2.5 game favorite, minus 180 on the money line. Over under is 22.5. Giron is plus
What is Wawa 2-0 here?
Plus 140.
I think I'm just gonna take Wawa on late games, man. Like again, I've been doing a lot of this tonight, but I think I'm gonna lay games on Wawa. Like I think this is a gift, man. I think this should be like -4 personally. Like Giron's just not he's so out of form, man. He looks awful lately.
He looks awful. And he only has one way of playing, and that one way of playing that he has fits right into Wawrinka's game.
It's just gonna get eaten up, right?
Yep.
Like he's gonna give Wawrinka a rhythm.
Exactly. And if
and also like Giron, like man, he just looks like he doesn't want to be there.
Well, if he's losing, right? Because he knows that he can't problem solve. Right?
Yeah.
He's so bad mentally. Yeah. That's what it is. So if he's losing, he knows that there's no way out of it, right? So that's why he's so miserable. And that's exactly what's going to happen in this match.
Yep.
I'm definitely playing the games here. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
So we got how many plays of the day here? We got
way too many, man.
Wawrinka -2.5.
Well, here we got Waller to play of the day, and we have Poppy as a play of the day, and that's it.
Poppy money line.
We actually have 2 disagreements, right?
Yeah, we got the Monarina Rinder.
That's kind of cool.
Disagreement. And then we got the Kushkin Borges disagreement.
All right, we got to keep. There's like the next pod's gonna be fun. Tonight's the night for fighting.
I wouldn't call this fighting.
Tuesday night's all right for fighting. Tuesday night's all right.
But I talked you off the break, right?
Tuesday.
Ooh, it's a show choke job. I see here. Just quickly, I want to touch on the Orleans Challenger because there's some fun stuff there. Where are the matches? So tomorrow I am on Mensik -3 against Elias Ymer. I just like what I've seen from Mensik, like from the US Open. So I'm on that tomorrow. I like the Draper Radu Albot under. Like, I don't understand why that's 21.5. Like, that should be 19, considering Draper took Albot to the woodshed at the US Open. I think it was like 2-3-1. So
yeah,
I think that's a good play. Virtanen, he's not a guy I'm going to back as a favorite just because he's quite erratic. So I'm going to stay away there. Goffin against Bellucci. I don't know. Goffin has really fallen off a cliff. So I'm going to stay away there. I'm all over Van Ash -3 against Luca Nardi. Van Ash escaped against Molchan, coming back from 6-1, 5-2 down. And he squeaked through that match. So I think he's kind of building some confidence again. It's in France. So I like laying games with Van Ash. Lestienne and De Jong. Lestienne just came off a challenger win last week. But I don't like Lestienne could clown too. So I
like Lestienne, man. When he's playing well, he's fun to watch.
He is fun to watch.
Like when he's actually taking tennis seriously, he's fun to watch.
He probably will take it seriously because it's in France.
Yeah.
So maybe -140.
And it's indoors, right? Yeah. So that I think he just plays a little bit better indoors.
Yeah, maybe.
Like his style is necessarily like I don't think his style necessarily fits indoors, but it feels like he like mentally he like prefers indoors, maybe.
It. Yeah. Brouwer, Gaston. I mean, Gaston is a clown, but not in France. Like he plays.
I know.
It's like it's insane. So I'd probably lay games there. Bonsai and Pair. I'm not betting a Benoit Pair match on a challenger. Forget it. And then Zep Pierre against Ferry. Who knows? But yeah, we'll post bets for that Orleans challenger because it does have a pretty nice draw. So
yeah, pretty good field.
Good field there. Yep. Any other parting thoughts before we leave?
No, I mean just want to the following continues to grow. So just want to call out some of the followers, and we haven't done as much of that lately, but we're up to I think 660 now. So getting new people every day.
Good stuff.
And as always, guys, I mean,
we
haven't had as many comments lately, but if you have any thoughts, think we're good, bad, or otherwise, feel free to leave a comment, and we're always interested to hear what your thoughts are.
Sounds good. All right. Have a great night, guys. See ya.
Thanks, everyone.